There's room for everything in pro wrestling.
Dana Brooke should be champion right now. How dare you, sir?
That's what you think, Rob?
That's what I think.
It doesn't matter what you think.
It's whatever at this point. Goldberg's in the Hall of Fame. That made it irrelevant at that point.
Are we wrestling nerds or not? No, we're not. We're cool guys.
And that's the bottom line because Bama Dave said so. Rammer Jammer and Drop the Hammer. It's all about the finish tonight here on the Bammer Slammer. If you're watching us live on our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/SmackRaw, thank you so much for doing so. Don't forget to follow us. And when you get in the chat, announce yourself right now. We got Marie in the chat, Alison in the chat, Bobby Max in the chat. Everybody, go share. Tell everybody that we're live and that you want them to join in the chat with us. We're going to be having an awesome time tonight. If you're watching this on the replay on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/SmackDraw Podcast, then please, by all means, leave us a comment, subscribe, and don't forget to click that bell. So every time we post a new video, you'll get notified immediately. We're dropping content on what seems like almost a daily basis here, whether it's from the rewind with RN and Kyle on the weekend, or botch spots and chair shots with Will and Alison, or here on the Bammer Slammer with me. Plus, we have our 10-second reviews, and we have the Bammer Slam of the week and the Mute RN videos. Whole slew of stuff, guys. We've got a whole catalog for you. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell so you don't miss out on any of it. As I said, tonight is a top 10 favorite finishers episode. So we're going to be doing this together. Let me introduce you to the panel on the crew with me tonight. Over here to my right, residing in the Sunshine State, he's a talented pro wrestler making waves and loud statements on the Florida Independent Circuit under Continental Championship Wrestling. He's also a NASCAR fan, and when he's not watching crashes, he's causing them to happen inside the ropes. Welcome back to the Bammer Slammer, Mr. Attitude himself, Cole Bohannon. Cole, welcome back, brother.
It's good to be back. It's time to raise hail and praise Dale.
And then directly down below Cole, diagonally from me, he is the host of the Angle podcast, created by wrestling fans and for wrestling fans, available on all streaming platforms. He provides the best fan insight and chats with stars from all across the pro wrestling world. Follow him on social media and be sure to watch him on TikTok as well. For the first time ever, welcome to the Bammer Slammer, Mr. Joey from the Angle Radio. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Finally, like The Rock would say, finally making this happen. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to finally make this happen with you as well. Real quick, tell everybody the story you just told me on who you just spent the last little while with.
Yeah, crazy story. So I'll make it short. My friend that lives nearby was like, "Hey, I know a wrestling guy that I would love to put you in contact with. Maybe you can get an interview with him." Of course, great. Takes me to the studio. Apparently, he's in music. He's a rapper. He has a studio. So we walk in. They're watching the NFL draft. They're having a party. He's got beers and key lime pie out. He walks me to the studio. Mr. How you doing? Enzo Amore is sitting right in front of my face. Coolest guy in the room, should I say.
Unbelievable.
And, yeah, you can expect that interview coming very soon.
I'll say, Joey, what do you think about the possibility of Enzo and Kaz coming to AEW? For or against it?
I'm for it. Honestly, it's been a while since we've seen them both on TV together. Cass doing his thing in Impact, killing it over there. Enzo, jumping around MLW, independent circuit. But it's been a long time since we saw them really together on TV. So if that's the case, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. And real quick in the chat, Cole, Bobby Mack wants to know, what part of Florida are you from right now? He lives in Tampa.
Dude! The shithole named Jacksonville.
Tony Khan's backyard, huh?
Yeah, something like that. Where the Gators lie and the Jaguars die.
I like that. And then directly below me, he's hailing from the Empire State of New York. He's the voice of the Tristen Law Show, where you can be introduced to the personalities in and out of the pro wrestling ring. In addition to being a host and a certified foodie, he's also a talented pro wrestler with a graduate degree from the Team 3D Academy, and he's got a master's degree in the Back to the Future franchise. Welcome back to the Bammer Slammer, Mr. Tristen Law, from his car on the highway. Tristen, how you doing, man?
Hey, you know what? If you had finished your intro 30 seconds ago, you can say that I was hailing from the beautiful state of Pennsylvania, but I crossed the border back in New York now.
Oh, dude, that...
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be here, and You know, Enzo's a cool guy. You know, I've ran into him once or twice, and his significant other, she's really cool. She steered me in the right way to take upon a career in broadcasting. So she's a great person, and so is he.
Awesome. Tristen, I've been wanting to ask you this question. You being a pro wrestler yourself, but you also being a master of the Back to the Future franchise, who would you rather see walk out that curtain? Young Biff or 1985 Biff? Or, excuse me, Mad Dog Tannen Biff?
I think Mad Dog Tannen Biff is more of a pro wrestling gimmick more than Biff Biff. So, Mad Dog. But I don't like none of them. I'm all for Marty. You know what, though? Doc would make a really good manager.
Yes, he would.
I got a question for Tristen. What interstate you on?
I'm on 84.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not on 84. Where I live in New York, I live 30 minutes from Pennsylvania, 40 minutes from Pennsylvania, and 20 minutes from New Jersey.
Gotcha.
I'm in Jersey. Yeah.
Oh, you're
I live in Jersey, and I used to live in South Florida. I moved here like 4 years ago, so I'm where both of you are. No way.
You ever live in Bama?
No, I've never.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful here. A lot of trees. 75% trees in Alabama. So lots of places to get lost and kill deer. Well, guys, I'm excited to have y'all tonight. At some point in the night, Tristen's going to disconnect and go get on his computer. At that point, we're going to have a small intermission to let him do that. So just be aware of that. Please don't leave. Tonight's going to be a very fun episode. But like it says over here in the description, we're going to be doing tonight our top 10 favorite finishers. That includes impact moves. That includes submissions. That includes high flyer moves. Whatever move you would classify as a finisher, we're going to give everybody their top 10 list of what they consider their favorite. Again, not best. That's very, very controversial. We're not going to get into that. This is our top 10 favorite list. So I'm excited to hear what these guys had to say. Alison, everybody comes to live in Alabama because we're winners. You want to live where the winners are. So I'm just playing. Oh, God. Bobby Mack, I guarantee you, I don't think anybody's going to have Hogan's leg drop in their list. I can almost guarantee that. Oh, my gosh. But anyway. So let's go ahead and jump into this, guys. I'm excited about this. So this is one I've been wanting to do for a while. We've done top 10 favorite female wrestlers. We've done top 10 favorite tag teams. We've done top 10 favorite entrance themes. And so now top 10 favorite finishers. And I'm very excited to have you guys on to do this. But real quick, let me just go around the horn and just set this up. Cole, start with you. How hard was it for you to make this list?
Hard. You think after being on this earth for 32 years. And all the wrestlers that I've watched, that I've witnessed, everything that I've seen, and trying to think of, all right, what were the top finishers that stuck out to me as an individual? My list is going to be mainly focused on what has inspired me as a pro wrestler, as well as what caught my attention the most, as well as a little bit of historical value to him. So that's the way that I'm doing mine tonight. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have a laminated list like David LaGreca. Most of this is just in my head, and I'm winging most of it. I got the top 5 down, but I'll tell you now, 10 through 5, I'm thinking of right now.
That's absolutely fine. Joey, what about you? How hard was it to put this list down?
Honestly, harder than it seems, because like you said, I originally went into it like, oh, the best finishers. I'm like, well, no. It's not the best. It's my favorite. And then you got to think about, well, how do you categorize that? And I'm thinking, well, I've been a wrestling fan since I was 3 years old. So since then to now, what are those moves that first come to mind instantly?
Exactly.
Those are those memorable moments. 2, again, what are those moves that made me get chills watching the finish or on the edge of my seat? I'm like, no one's kicking out of that. So it was a really back and forth. I got the top 5 down. The last 5 were really hard to do because there's so many.
Yep.
I'm thinking about my favorite guys, my favorite guys of all time. But then again, some of my favorite guys didn't have my favorite finishers. So very difficult to fluctuate between, 10. but I think I nailed it. I think I got it.
All right. Tristen, what about you? I know you're big on preparation before you go on a podcast. How hard was it to make this list?
You know what's funny? You took the words right out of my mouth. I am big on preparation, and it's like when I wrote down the list, I kept changing it and adding it, changing it and adding it. It's like asking me, what's my favorite graphic tee to wear? And it all depends on the day. So you know what? I said, you know what? I'm just going to go in there and talk about it the way I feel it in the moment, because if you ask me tomorrow, it'll probably change.
Yeah, 100%. And chat, before I tell you how this was for me, when we get to a finisher, give us your commentary on it. And if you guys have your own kind of mental top 3 or top 5 in your head that are your favorites, I want you to put them in the chat. I want to read them out. I want to give you shout-outs about them. For me, guys, what I do when I do a favorite list, let's say best list, you got to go do research and really narrow down criteria. For a favorite list, what I do is I shut off the computer and I shut off my phone, and just from my own mental, I write down what immediately starts coming to my mind. What immediately do I, if it's really resonating with me, it means a lot to me personally, I shouldn't have to look it up. It should be there. And so then I'll put that down. I got to about 6 or 7, and then I'm like, okay, 6 or 7 I think are pretty stacked. I'll rearrange them a little bit. My top 3 are pretty much going to stay the way they are forever. But the rest of them into my honorable mentions, I had to go on Google one time, and I went to WWE's top 50 finishers and just scanned through them, and it was amazing to me. With the exception, I think, of one, all of my finishers are in their list. So I thought this is actually kind of funny. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do our top 10 favorite, and then throughout the night, if somebody says one and it's in your honorable mentions, go ahead and say, I had that in my honorable mentions. Or if you'd rather, wait till the end, and I'll go, does anybody have any honorable mentions we didn't mention? And then you can talk about them at that point. But again, we're going to name them, and then once you rattle off your number, say why it made your list, whether what you loved about it or maybe what you hated about it and grew to love about it, how it looked, the person who did it. Take like a minute to 90 seconds and just talk about why that particular finishing move is on your list. Over here in the chat real quick, Bobby Mack said the super kick, the DDT, and the tombstone are they are not disqualified. They are absolutely not disqualified.
Hey, there's different types of super kicks.
Yes, there are. There's ones that...
Different name.
Yep, there's ones that are sold and there's ones that aren't.
There's ones that are sold, and then there's ones from the Young Bucks.
Yeah. And Adam Cole.
I didn't want to say that, but accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I say right now, Kyle is from the Smack Drop podcast. He is retweeting that one where Shawn Michaels literally decapitated Shelton Benjamin off that springboard. Oh my gosh. And I retweeted it and said, you know what's funny about this? He laid there 5 minutes after he got hit with that thing because it was real. It was 100% real. Oh my gosh. It was a shoot, brother. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited to talk about it. But anyway, let's get this thing going. Cole, we're going to start with you. What's number 10?
The Lion Tamer. As known as the Lion Tamer first before it was the Walls of Jericho. And the reason why that's number 10 for me, because that's one of the first finishers I remember watching as a child. Growing up watching wrestling at 6:05 Eastern on TBS. I don't know what the hell night it was, but it was WCW.
Saturday night.
Yes, sir. And one of my earliest memories was Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho as the long, blonde-haired baby face that he used to be, and watching him do his lion salt, the Lion Tamer, and all that. That always stood out to me because not too many people got out of it when it first started up, and to this day, it's still used. It's used by Chris. It's used by others in the indies. It got me suspended from my 3rd grade social studies class. It's something that it looks as painful as you need it to look. You really sit down on it, man. If your opponent's not in good shape, you can easily tear something in their legs. You can easily screw up their lower back. It's a powerful finisher. It looks like it's just a Boston Crab, so to say. But the way that he would sink it in, he would sit down on it. That was always something that stood out to me. And the way that Chris has made that, it's just so many different names to it as well. And the way that he's used it in so many different platforms to this day, 30 years later, we still have the Lion Tamer, the Walls of Jericho. That is my number 10.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody else might have it on their list as well. I'm just curious why he moved it more to a Boston Crab. When he originally did it, he got on one knee and he held them where basically their back was vertical on their neck. That's how he used to do it. And then I guess over time somebody got hurt and he said, "I'll turn it into basically a Boston Crab." But it's still a little bit different. But yeah, for sure. I remember that was one of the first finishers I started considering was the Lion Tamer / Walls of Jericho. That's a great one. Joey, what's number 10?
Number 10, honestly, this was the hardest one to pick because there were so many like honorable mentions, and I'm like, wow, this is like just one. And for me, I have to pick the Curb Stomp.
Seth Rollins. Yeah.
Seth freaking Rollins. It's one of those moves that obviously if you're a fan of Seth Rollins, you're a fan of WWE, you know kind of when it's going to come, but like sometimes you just don't.
Right.
And for example, at WrestleMania against Randy Orton, he's going for the Curb Stomp and it's turned into an RKO. There's so many maneuvers that can be used in that move. We've seen it done on cinder blocks. We've seen it done on the steps. We've seen it done in so many different ways. And it's always exciting to see, especially when the guys can sell it really, really well. Someone like Ricochet or Mustafa Ali can sell it. So I think the Curb Stomp is one of those that every time you watch it, you kind of feel it. You're like, oh, that's got to hurt somewhat. So Curb Stomp for me, number 10.
Absolutely. Welcome into the chat, our fearless leader, Kyle Tyson of the Smack Draw podcast. And he's actually saying, Tristen, are you actually driving? Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I am.
And
actually, no, I'm fake driving. It's one of the Zoom backgrounds. I'm not really in a car.
Yeah, he said,
"Look, great actor. He's doing it well."
Yeah, Kyle said, it looks everything looks great, but dude, pull over. No, he'll be locking in here pretty soon. I think we just lost him. Tristen, are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay, you're still here. Well, then let's move over to you. What's your number 10?
All right, so for me, my number 10, I kind of put this as like, when I'm looking at the list, I'm like, yeah, okay, so I like this one. I want to rank this one higher, but it's not a list of like which ones I like. But I don't really know how to follow directions. That was one of my biggest problems in school. So I'm going to put this on the list still at number 10. It's going to be the Sweet Chin Music, a.k.a. the Super Kick. The reason why I got to put that at 10 is because, man, that move is beating some really big guys. When you look at it, the Super Kick, or if you look back at some of the video game manuals back in the day, the side thrust kick, as it was called, man, that move is so bastardized now.
Yes.
On the indie scene, or even on television. Everybody uses the Super Kick. So for me, I'm going to put the Super Kick at number 10.
All right, absolutely. And over here, Bobby Mack, sorry, you can boo all you want to. It's on the list, and I'm sure somebody else is going to have it on their list as well. My number 10, I'm in the same boat as Tristen. I had like 7 that didn't make that were still there, and one of them's got to become my number 10. So I was like, okay, of all these, which one do I have a nostalgic feel? And literally, I'm not kidding you. One came to my mind right before, and I said, okay, screw the 7. This one's going into number 10, and it's Lex Luger's torture rack. I loved that move. Growing up, watching WCW, I started watching wrestling at age 10 in 1995. Luger had just started really using it. And it was such a cool thing to see him pick up guys that were 200 pounds heavier than him and a foot and a half, 2 feet taller than him sometimes, and he would still get them up, and then he would start pulling down their legs and pulling down their neck and just the way they would sell, oh, their spines are cracking, he's breaking vertebrae and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, it's just, and Luger's face the whole time just made you feel like he's really hurting these guys. And just growing up in that time frame, I hated the NWO and I was Team WCW. Luger racked half the NWO every single month, and so just the ability to watch that thing happening over and over again. I'll never forget watching live on August the 4th, 1997, when Lex Luger racked Hulk Hogan on Nitro to win the world title, and it was the first time the NWO had lost a belt in like almost over a year. So it was such a huge moment. I'll never forget that. So watching Luger use that torture rack as a submission, and it's actually surprising to me that in the modern day, nobody's using it. I think somebody needs to step up and adopt it and bring it back because I think it's a really good finisher to use. So, and by the way, if anybody wants to do commentary on anybody else's moves, by all means do it. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's see here. Kyle says, dude looks like he's fresh from the Johnny Depp trial. Oh, gosh. And the claw from the Von Erichsen, absolutely, Baron Von Raschke. That's a good one. The Iron Claw is a great move. This time, Joey, we're going to start with you. What's your number 9?
Number 9, we already kind of said it, though, and it's my number 9. It's the Walls of Jericho, the Lion Tamer.
There we go.
It's timeless. And it's been, like we already spoke about, it's been done so many different ways, so many different names, so many different eras of Jericho that he's been able to evolve that move. And honestly, like if you look back, I don't know what SummerSlam it was, but it was SummerSlam. He opened the show against Dolph Ziggler, and he put his knee on Ziggler's neck, and you can see the bend in the back. And even with Mysterio, right? Mysterio, he would do that with too.
Yep.
That, to me, was just so when he was going through like that really heel stage in WWE, and he turned babyface, and he evolved that move to kind of look the same style as when he was a heel,
right?
Instead of the Boston Crab version. There's just so many different ways to hit that move, and Jericho was always so great at getting the move over.
Right.
I mean, that's just a really great thing that he's able to do, get his moves over. And the Lion Tamer, the Walls of Jericho, like I said, it's timeless, and anybody that does it, anything near it, it as the Lion Tamer, the Walls of Jericho.
To comment on what you just said, Joe, this son of a bitch has a back elbow over right now. He has people popping for a back elbow.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah, he's the epitome of the Renaissance man. He just continually reinvents himself and reinvents
There's
what
no
he does.
one like him. There's no one that will ever have the resume and be anywhat near what he can do.
I agree. If he's not on your top 10 list, then you're not a wrestling fan, in my opinion. He definitely deserves to be there. Bobby said his number 9 is the belly to belly from Magnum TA. When Magnum did it, it meant something. He hit that thing hard. He hit that thing real hard. All right, Tristen, what's your number 9?
All right, so my number 9, I remember first seeing this move at Total Nonstop Action Wrestling when I was before wrestling school. When I ended up at TNA, I used to always blink, and I would miss this move because it happened so quickly. But now, that move is just so, again, bastardized across the pro wrestling scene now. One of the things I learned when I went to Team 3D Academy from Bubba is because you can do the move doesn't mean that you have to do the move.
Right.
That's one of the things I walk with in my back pocket today. And that move that is my number 9 is the Canadian Destroyer.
Oh, I love that move. Oh.
Such a great one. Such a great one.
Tristen, who's the person you saw do it for the first time?
Williams.
Yep.
I used to watch it every TNA show. He would do the Canadian Destroyer, and I'm like, damn it, I blinked and I missed it. And one time I went, I kept my eyes open just like that because I didn't want to miss it.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I saw it. Not everybody does it because they can.
Yep, and they try to do from different heights and different angles to see who can do it the most dangerous, and they'll still kick out at one. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, it's a great move. It needs to be a finisher, and people need to treat it with more respect. Absolutely, 100%.
Well, you see a move like that, and you don't think someone's kicking out of it just because of the spectacle of the move.
It's beautiful.
We've seen people do it off the rope, off the middle rope, off the top rope, and kick out of it, which is bullshit in my eyes. You should not be kicking out of that off the fucking second rope, let alone the third, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Kyle over here said, "Is that the move that Bad Bunny made famous?"
I was just gonna say he hit a beautiful one at WrestleMania.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And Miz sold it for like a minute. Miz sold that thing because it hurts. All right, coming over here, my number 9. I hated it when he did it because I hated him with a passion. But now that he's finally retired and he'll probably be in the Hall of Fame as a singles guy next year, it's gonna go down as one of my favorite moves of all time. Triple H's Pedigree. I love that move. And I miss the way he used to do it. He's adjusted it several times over his career. When he first started doing it, he would actually do it, and he would kind of let them come down on their knees, and they would brace themselves with that. And then during the Attitude Era, he wanted to get more physical. He would jump backwards to where their knees couldn't do it, and they'd go flat. And then, but I'll never forget one time. You've probably all seen the GIF. He got this one dude. I don't know what he did to get the momentum. The dude went completely vertical and landed on his head. Oh my gosh, he about killed the dude. And finally, after a while, he started adjusting it where he looked pretty consistent every time he did it. But Triple H's Pedigree is just a great move, and he's actually not the first person to use it. Believe it or not, Andre the Giant was the first person to use a move like that. But Triple H mastered it, and Seth Rollins is kind of taking it now. He does it every now and then. And Cody Rhodes will do it every now and then as well. But man, the Pedigree is just a great move that was very protected. It was almost never kicked out of, and when it did get kicked out of, it meant something. And I just really the psychology of the guy. Triple H is in my top 10 of all time because of just his in-ring IQ and the way he doesn't have to do a lot. He can just move around, run his mouth, and do little things to make you hate him or make you love him. But man, what you knew, when he kicked you in the gut, put your head between his legs, and he grabbed your elbows, you better make a move quick or you're done. You're not kicking out of the Pedigree. So I loved it. It's in my number 9. And Godspeed, Triple H. Keep getting healthy. Get back behind NXT. And please, please, please get the keys to the kingdom soon. We need you in that chair. We need you in that chair. Cole, what's your number 9?
So none of you are going to have this. I promise you none of you are going to have this. And again, this comes back to my childhood, something that entertained me, something that made me laugh, all right? This guy used to take something that it seemed like he couldn't come up with anything good himself. So he found something that was kind of lame, and he added a twist to it. He made it his own. And it became I would say it was who he was. Again, I'm not giving you enough hints, but my number 9 is going to be the chair finisher with La Parka.
I do remember this. Who
remembers hitting people with a chair and then dancing?
Yes, I remember
After
this.
he hit them with the chair, he would dance.
Oh, dude, we're going 96, 97 WCW, man.
And hit him with the
oh,
1, 2,
yes,
3.
yes.
With the whole outfit that La Parka was.
Yes.
That lucha style, the mask, the whole 9 yards. Not only was he putting on a banger with the lucha stuff that he's able to do, the high-flying stuff, him and Juventud, or it was him and Ray, or whoever it was, him and Eddie. It didn't matter who it was. La Parka put on some really fun matches. And I just remember when that chair would come out, hit him with the chair, and the little dance and the little strut he would do with the chair.
Yep.
That was La Parka. It's really unfortunate he didn't have a long tenured career that something like a Juventud would have had, or a Rey Mysterio, because I feel like he had a lot of potential. But it's funny, guys, when I was sitting up and thinking about this list in my hot tub with a bottle of vodka, I was thinking, all right, I know what my top 5 is. Like, I can basically put them in order, but that's 6 through 10. There's a list of 50 moves I can put in there. So I had to brainstorm of, let me be 6, 7, 8-year-old Cole Bohannon again. And what stood out to me as a kid when I was sitting on that couch at 6:05, what made me smile, what made me laugh.
Yeah.
And somehow that black and white freaking mask of La Parka came up in my head, and I could just see him dancing with that chair. So to me, that's a staple of my childhood if I'm remembering that now at 32 years old.
That's awesome.
So I'm going with La Parka's chair finisher.
Awesome. Tristen, we're going to come back to you. Are you ready to get out?
I am, but no, I'll answer the question.
Okay, well, let me come to you now. We're going to do number 8.
Okay, so for me, my number 8 is definitely the Famouser. You know, when I used to see that move all the time, man, it always reminded me of the Pedigree that's a different way. And I think that move as a pro wrestler, there are different unique ways that you can use to get out of that move.
Right.
So you can block them. But yeah, for me, number 8's the Famouser.
Do you like Dolph Ziggler or Billy Gunn?
Man, I try not to cuss on your show, you know, because I know you're the pastor and everything like that. But, you know, I love Mr. Ash. The wrestler.
That's his name.
Right. him as Mr. Edge.
Yeah, I call him Billy Gunn because I'm not going to call him that, but that's okay. You can call him that all you want to.
Right.
All right, so are you gonna log off and then log back in?
I can do that, yes.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. You gave your number 8. We'll see you in a second. All right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. My number 8. This is gonna be fun. My number 8 is one of my favorite high flying moves, and it's on the verge of being overused. But I'm glad the guys that are actually using it as a finisher are using it as a true finisher, and people aren't kicking out of it. My number 8 is Eddie Guerrero's Frog Splash. Oh my gosh, it is beautiful. And I remember the first time I saw him do it. It was the same year in 1995, end of the year, right before 1996. I think it was in November, and it was a match with him and Brian Pillman, and so you can imagine the technical ability and the way they're going back and forth with each other. And he hit Brian with a brainbuster, and then he ran to the top rope and he did that frog splash for the first time. My eyes got so wide and my jaw hit the floor. I'd never seen anything like that. It was so beautiful the way he would do it. And a lot of people will do the open and close of the arms while they're in midair. He would do it right before he's going to hit you. It looked like a literal, like, okay, I'm going to fall, and then I'm going to quickly close on you. And that last second open and close is what drove the air out of them to get the pin. And so it's just a beautiful move. In my opinion, nobody did it better than Eddie. Montez Ford is doing an amazing job with it. Of course, Rob Van Dam's 5-star frog splash is iconic. He's probably gotten the most long-term distance out of it. But in terms of consistency, the same way every time, and you knew if he hit it and there was nobody around to interfere, he's getting a 1, 2, 3. Eddie Guerrero, Latino heat. He didn't need to lie, cheat, or steal if he had the frog splash because it worked every single time. I loved that move. Cole, number 8.
My number 8 is going to be a high-flying move as well. And I'm not saying I don't think it's used too much. It's used a little bit in the indies though. But again, we're going back to my childhood. We're going back to the 90s. We're going back to a move that was devastating. You didn't see too many people kick out, and that was the elbow drop. Anytime you saw Macho Man Randy Savage go up to that top rope and you see him coming flying down with that elbow, you knew it was over for whomever he was going against. It's a devastating move by anybody that does it, except the mild thing, Mike Anthony, who makes it look extremely weak. But we won't go on Mike Anthony today. The elbow drop by Macho Man, it's just the elegance of him in the air, the way he would fly in the air with it, to the point of now. You see Shane McMahon doing it off of things he shouldn't be doing off of, through things he shouldn't be doing it through, off cells, through tables. I don't know if those are elbow drops or whole body drops, but they're basically elbow drops. But it's that whole spectacle of seeing somebody in the midair, elbow first, come crashing down onto their opponent, and you visualize that and think how much force that is coming down to the chest of an individual. But that's also a staple of pro wrestling. Almost any highlight reel you see that is regarding pro wrestling, there is Macho Man Randy Savage doing an elbow drop. Yeah. And that had to reach my top 10. Rest in peace, Macho Man. Again, a staple to probably all of our childhoods. And I honestly like seeing the elbow drop being used in a formal manner and seeing it used as a finisher properly still to this day.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. Mr. Joey, what's your number 8, sir?
Before I say my number 8, but back to both of the moves that you guys just talked about, the elbow drop and the frog splash. 2 fantastic finishers that I think that a lot of people today use almost as like a signature move.
Yes.
Like it's not necessarily a finisher anymore. In our eyes, it's always going to be a finisher because that's what we grew up on. Right. But, you see guys like Seth Rollins do the frog splash, to set up for something. Or you see CM Punk do the elbow drop, always pay homage to Macho Man. But I think, like, for example, Bayley. I think Bayley at one point was using it as her finisher, the elbow drop. Yes. So it is here and there. But I just wish that like moves like those 2 in particular just were I don't know the terminology correctly.
Used as a true finisher where if you hit it, it's over. Yeah.
Like how they save the end of days where it's like nobody kicks out, it's a finisher. Yes. It's not a signature. Those are those type of moves that you need to keep that rich history with.
I 100% agree. Like I said, Montez Ford, when he hits it and gets the cover, it's over. Usually, Ray and Dominic, when they hit the frog splash, it's over. And I'll tell you right now, I blame HBK a little bit for the elbow drop being taken away because he would hit his elbow drop before he hit the super kick. So
very true.
So very well known signature for him.
Exactly. Yeah.
The sweet chin music. But my number 8, I think a lot of people are going to think that it's it should be closer to the top. But because it's just one of those moves that very rarely that anybody's going to kick out of, and it's a 3-letter word, and no, it's not the RKO, but it is the GTS, the go to sleep. It's just one of those moves, man, that it's devastating, especially when, like the curb stomp. When someone sells it properly, it's beautiful.
Yes.
Obviously, we see
I agree.
Use it, CM Punk use it, but when you look at for example. Look at CM Punk's run in AEW. Every time he's hit his finisher, the GTS, the crowd goes crazy. Mm-hmm. Just the way he's able to hit it. And everybody knows, that opponent is going to sleep. So my number 8, doesn't matter who's hitting it. The move itself, the GTS.
Over here in the chat, Bobby Mack said his number 8 is Junkyard Dog's Thump Power Slam. That was memorable.
Go back.
And then he said, going in setting up number 7, is the Crippler Crossface. That almost made my list. That's in my honorable mentions.
That's my honorable mention.
Yeah,
that was my yep.
Yeah. There's only a handful of people that do it, with any consistency, being as a finisher. I mean, I guess you could count Sasha Banks' bank statement as a crossface. It's fairly
sort
close. Sort of. And then, all right, Joey, I'll let you chime in here. Marie Shadows in the chat said, the GTS from who? From Kenta, right? Because Punk stole it. I will always defend this.
Of course. I have to agree. Move. I don't want to say the words. I don't know if it's stole or borrowed because, you see a lot of moves between generations of people that are, they take it and they make it their own. But then again, we all know that Kenta was using it first. So
right.
Props to Kenta. It is Kenta's, but we see CM Punk in the main stage doing that.
I say, now we got a fight breaking out in the chat. Kyle said, Marie, you mean Punk perfected it. Oh, boy. So, you two have fun in the chat. We're going to keep talking finishers over here. So, Tristen, welcome back. We're going to continue the conversation here. My number 8 was Eddie Guerrero's Frog Splash, and then Cole's number 8 was the elbow drop from the Macho Man, and then Joey's number 8 was the GTS from Kenta and CM Punk. And so now I think we're starting with me now. Yep, we are number 7. My number 7 is a hybrid of a move. It's made famous by mainly 2 people. Both of them are definitely in my top favorites of all time. And they are pretty, like I said, they're pretty much the same move, but just a slight variation. And that is the Sharpshooter / Scorpion Deathlock. I could not get enough of this move. Again, growing up WCW, Sting was my guy. And you knew Sting was going to go after that lower back and go after a leg. Because at some point, he's going to grab those legs and he's going to flip you over in a Scorpion Deathlock and you will tap. You will tap in that move. And same thing with Bret Hart. Masterful at executing backbreakers and side slams and going after a knee and going after a hamstring. And eventually at some point, he's going to knock you off your feet. And he's going to grab your ankles. He's going to lock in the sharpshooter and you will tap. It was just so protected, both of them. If I had a personal preference on who I think looked better doing it, I think Bret did. But I love how Sting sat up and angled it a little bit more, and then when he actually squatted in it is when he was trying to go after the legs more than the back. But they're both great. I'm kind of sad we never really got to see a Bret versus Sting Sharpshooter Scorpion Deathlock match. They teased it a couple of times, but I don't think they ever really fully had a full-on match. If they did, I missed it. I need to go find it. But my gosh, I loved watching both of them growing up doing those moves, and it is a move I did to my brother hundreds of times, and and I think all of us who have siblings probably did. It's just a great finisher, and like I said, it's one of the few submissions now that other people who do it somewhat do it with somewhat of consistency and do it with respect. I know RN's not in this chat right now, but he's going to scream at the top of his lungs, Natty does it wrong. Yep, she probably does, but I think she does Owens' version of it more than Brett's. But at any point, it needs to be treated with respect because it is in my opinion, one of the greatest moves of all time. So, Cole, you're number 7.
So my number 7 is paying homage to someone that we've just recently lost, and that is the Razor's Edge. I liked the Razor's Edge because it was a build-up. When he grabbed his opponent and put him up on his shoulders, you knew what was coming, and it was just waiting for the inevitable. It was kind of like a power bomb.
Yep.
Where it is almost like an inverted power bomb. Instead of, the legs, your head between their legs and bringing them up and dropping them, they're over your shoulders, almost like being crucified.
Exactly.
The way that your arms were held out, completely helpless. There's nothing you could do in that position. Very few got out of the Razor's Edge. It was something that he also brought over to WCW. He made it big in WWF as Razor Ramon, coming in as Scott Hall using the Razor's Edge. I can't remember if he renamed it or not when he was over there. If he did, I can't remember what he.
Outsider's Edge.
Outsider's Edge. There you go. Yep. It was just something that will be timeless. It's something, again, as kids, if you had smaller siblings, you could easily do that with them. And then let me speak on that real quick. I don't know how today's society is with children and parental guidance and all that. And obviously we had it shoved down our throats, don't try this at home, which it should have been. But I always wonder if these kids that are growing up now, if they're getting to indulge and do a lot of the stupid stuff that we did, that granted, again, shouldn't try this at home.
No.
But at the same time, some of the best memories I have were with my friends on trampolines, on mattresses out in the yard,
swimming
having
pools,
wrestling swimming pools off. Yes, 100%. When it comes to that younger generation, definitely do things safely, but have fun.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come out here and say, suplex your brother through a table.
No.
I'm not coming out here and saying that, but have fun in a safe manner. And if you're a parent, if you're our age, either millennials or, however old we all are, and you have children growing up, don't rob them of that. No. You can watch over them and make sure they're having fun in a safe manner. But you can easily get on that trampoline and have some fun in the pool, do some somersaults and flips on the trampoline and on the mattresses. That was the best part of being a kid, of doing these finishers we're talking about as kids.
I say, dude, no lie, how many of you were like me when you went to a party or went to an event and there was a moonwalk, all your friends, battle royal.
I think the real question is how many beds did you guys all break? Because I broke about
at least one. At least one.
So, I'm still breaking beds, but it's not for the same reason.
So
sorry, Dave.
There we go.
My bed was.
I got 3 kids, man. It's okay.
I had a single bed. It used to be bunk beds, and we cut it to the bottom was just single bed. It had a nice little headboard where I used to put all my PS1 games, and then it had like a stand where I could put my TV on.
Right.
And I used to jump off that, and which
didn't. You had a dresser.
Yes, exactly. And you think a single, single size bed, singular, one person.
Yep.
And you're doing some stupid stuff.
Yep.
All the might of maybe 100 pounds, whatever you are as a kid, coming straight down into that.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times I got my butt whipped because I had to keep on going through bed frames and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did the diving board and of course off the side of the pool. But then my dad got me a swing set that had one of those climb up to platforms. Yeah. And so you have the platform, and then you have the long wooden bar, and all the swings hung off of it. So the platform you climb up to and do the slide or whatever. So then, genius me, this thing's about 6 foot off the ground. Trampoline's about 4 foot off the ground. So I pulled the trampoline up to the platform, and that became my top turnbuckle. And so I did all my jumps.
EC Dub. I think we can say that's backyard wrestling. I don't know if you guys remember that video game.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it was okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then here's how into it I got. I took 3 pool noodles. Okay, 2 vertical, 1 horizontal. So I got arms, 2 legs, and a head. and so I practiced all these finishing moves on pool noodles, and then when my friends came over, I said, "Get rid of this. You're the guy now." And so we would take turns doing either to the pool noodles or to each other. But yeah, no, dude, that was childhood. How many of you made a fake belt? And carried it around. Come on! Yes.
I made the John Cena spinner one. I put like a paper clip and I made the things. I don't know. I got all into it. I really wanted it.
Yeah, I had.
My mother was not spending any money on wrestling because she wasn't into wrestling.
No.
And I remember us getting cardboard and we traced it.
Yes.
Out, and we glued the paper to the top.
Yes.
And we cut 2 holes on the side to run the belt in the back.
Yes.
Yep.
You have to use, if you ever use like duct tape for the back to make like the strap like flimsy.
Or if you got stick-on Velcro, that could work too. Yep.
You know what it is? We were so resourceful as kids.
We were smart.
Yes.
What happened to these kids?
They're not.
Now they got TikTok. Now they got TikTok showing how to do everything.
The problem is they're not out there jumping off of diving boards. They're sitting on iPads.
Yeah.
They're playing Roblox and
they're jumping virtually.
Yeah, they're not out there doing this stuff. It really sucks. You know, talking about belts, my favorite belt growing up was the Smoking Skull belt. And I remember my mom got me the replica, not the $200 replica, the $30 one at Walmart, the styrofoam one. And I remember taking that to school and showing that off and doing wrestling moves and lunch and all that. And then walking home from school thinking I was the baddest MFer there was with this belt to the point where I ran up on one of my friends, hit him with the head with it, actually caught blood and ended up getting suspended. Even though it didn't happen on school grounds. Like, what the heck?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Over here in the chat.
The best part,
more of that.
Go ahead.
The best part, the best story I have from my childhood with wrestling, and I'll make it quick. I remember we had a pool in our backyard, and every summer everybody came to the pool.
Yes.
And you know, my dumb ass was doing wrestling moves in the pool, trying to show everybody that wasn't wrestling fans how to do moves.
Yep.
And my mom would always say, "Oh, they're doing flips in the pool," and eventually. Correcting her so many times. All the boys are doing swanton bombs in the pool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, what are they doing? And she'd be like, "Oh, just some wrestling move." And I'm like, "Swanton bomb."
Swanton bomb, Mom. Swanton bomb.
She would originally. She ended up calling flips in the pool the swanton bombs in the pool.
Yep. And then they try to discourage you and tell you how fake it is. You're like, it's real, and all those arguments we had. Over here, one of our other SmackDown members, Will, is in the chat. What's up, man? Good to see you. Bobby Mack said his number 6, we're about to get there, is the Shake, Rattle, and Roll neck breaker. I hated the honky tonk, man, so I'm not giving that finisher any time of day, although it's a good one. And then Will said he had a whole freaking backyard wrestling federation in his high school. Man, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we all did that. We all did it. Yeah, we all did it. 100%. All right, Joey, I think we're to you. What's your number 7?
Number 7, it's actually pretty funny. My number 7, I wish I could show you my list. My number 7 is also the sharpshooter. And I have to say it's Bret the Hitman Hart, one of the best of all time. Best there is, the best there was.
Best there ever will be.
And that move itself, too, you can add that catchphrase onto that move because that move is, again, it's a timeless move. We see it done today by, different people, but there's never going to be a version.
Not the way Bret did it. No.
Nope. And even like you said, Sting, like the Scorpion Death, there's never going to be, there's a different way of selling today. And I think it's really, really missing, I don't know. It's just, we could talk hours about that.
Yeah.
But the way it's done today is just not the same, but the sharpshooter for me is number 7.
Did you like the way The Rock did it with the big jump over once he hooked you?
It was entertaining because it was The Rock, but I mean, listen, when he did it, I was younger at the time, so different moves popped me.
Yeah.
But there's just nothing like Bret the Hitman Hart.
I
Even
agree.
watching Trish Stratus in her retirement do
Yes.
that move,
Yes.
win, just paying homage.
Yes.
You know that when someone's using it in their retirement, that's the last memory you're going to have of them. Which
Yep.
obviously wasn't for Trish, but and you're going to use Bret the Hitman Hart's move. I mean, that's how you know that it's something special.
100%. Could not agree more. Tristen, you're number 7.
All right, so for my number 7, this pro wrestler has gone on record recently saying that he loves doing the move again. and that move is the WORM, the worm.
Scotty too hottie.
I'm telling you, man, that move. Talking about doing
Turn it
moves
up!
for kids, that was so cool for me to get down and able to propel myself back up and do stuff like that when I was a kid. So yeah, the worm, WORM, worm.
Oh, so much fun. That move was just as over as the people's elbow.
I agree.
That move was huge. Everybody was waiting for him to do that thing. It was so awesome.
Yep.
All right, Cole, we're coming back to you. Number 6.
So my number 6 is still used. It's a family tradition, and again, we're going back to past and present. I'm gonna say the figure 4 leg lock. The figure 4 was again one of those moves that once it was put on,
my honorable mentions.
You knew that the opponent wasn't going to kick out, no matter what. And towards the end of Flair's prime, you started seeing others start to really reverse it more.
Yeah.
Reverse the momentum, and now we see Charlotte turning it into like a figure 8. I think is what they're calling it,
which is gorgeous. I love how she does that. Yes,
it's where she's bridging it, which believe me is a little bit more difficult than what it looks.
Yes,
that takes a lot of strength, a lot of core strength to be able to do that. So that easily is my number 6. I'm happy that it's still being used. I don't see it as much in the indies, at least not down here. I'm not seeing it as much.
Yeah, Cody does it, I know.
Yeah, it's just not as much.
Yeah,
at least in the indie side of things.
Didn't Flair gift that to Miz at one point?
Yes, the Miz does use it. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it seems to be used correctly.
Yeah.
You're seeing a lot of guys tap out of it, and Charlotte I think is doing it very well.
I agree 100%. Like I said, it's in my honorable mentions, and I forgot to tell you earlier, the Razor's Edge is in my honorable mentions as well. I love the Razor's Edge. Great move. Joey, you're number 6.
My number 6, someone has brought it up before. I don't remember exactly who, but number 6 for me is the pedigree. I mean, it's a move that I will never get tired of seeing. It's a move that I've hurt my knees doing so many times.
Yeah,
on carpets or wood floors as a kid. It didn't matter. The rush from that move was always just, and like we talked about too, the different variations that Triple H had where, you'd end up, your face first like this or flat, or how about when, he'd bounce one knee up and then hit the,
Yes.
So many different ways of doing it. And I remember every time in all of the video games, I would always make that one of my finishers. And there was always Pedigree 1, Pedigree 2, Pedigree 3. There was so many different variations of it. And it's just one of those moves that I hope that we see. I know that it was kind of gifted in a sense to Seth Rollins, but it's not used as a finisher.
Right.
As Triple H used. So I hope now that, unfortunately Triple H is officially retired, I hope that someone comes along and really, takes that history and, it's a move that they can make their own because it's just such a great move.
I agree.
When it's done, whether it's done on a steel chair, the announce table, Hell in a Cell, wherever it's done, it's just one of those moves where you're like, oh, there's either blood or no one's kicking out.
I agree. That's a great thing to say, and I really hope somebody does adopt it. Off the top of my head right now, I can't think of anybody that fits that blue blood.
If anybody, I could see maybe Cody Rhodes using it in a way.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it'll be a finisher.
Yeah, he's got his Crossroads, and now Damian Priest can't use the Reckoning anymore, I'm sure, because Cody Rhodes has the Crossroads. But that's fine with me because Damian Priest started using the Razor's Edge, and it looked great. And I hope he brings it back. I really do. Especially now with Scott Hall passing away, Damian Priest is the bad guy. He needs to bring that thing out and use it. I would love to see that happen again.
A lot of his character is based upon...
A lot of it, yes.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Tristen, you're number 6.
All right, so for my number 6 is the Tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
You see that move there, man. When Undertaker first came out, and especially when Kane first debuted when Glenn Jacobs first debuted as Kane, once you saw that move, that
you're not getting up.
That was the nail in the coffin, and I loved it that the extra suspense that that you would get when that person would kick out at 2.99999.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. When he crossed the arms and rolled his eyes back, I'm like, oh, it's over. It's over.
And they would kick out and he would go, the eyes would come back and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
You kicked out of that? Now you got to die.
If you told me to make your top 10 favorite moments in wrestling history, which I think I might do, I guarantee you in my top 3 is the look on Taker's face when Shawn kicked out at 25.
Yep.
That was worth the ticket price. It was so beautiful. I love that moment. And Jim Ross on the commentary, I just had an out-of-body experience. It's just so great. Oh, I loved it. What a moment. What a moment. Over here in the chat, Bobby Mack said his number 5, The Rude Awakening. That's a good one. That's a good one. I agree. My number 6 is the highest submission is on my list. Everything above this is a fly move or an impact move. But this is my favorite submission of all time, executed by one of the greatest technicians of all time, and currently being used by 2 phenomenal technicians. One is Serena Deeb, and the other is the national treasure Nick Aldis, the Cloverleaf. I love the Cloverleaf. It is a gorgeous move when done correctly. All the pressure's on the kneecap. The rest of the pressure's on the side leg. And when you work it right and you put it in, just like the sharpshooter, you will tap. That move is so painful, and I loved the way Dean Malenko worked to get to that move. And when he finally locked it in, the Iceman was going to make you tap. And I hated him so much because I knew that he's so good that if he locks that in, you ain't getting out of it. And so I loved watching that. Like I said, Serena Deeb just beat Hikaru Shida with that move. I love it. Yeah, Tanahashi, Marie said, does the Cloverleaf. Some of the best in the world do it. It's a great finisher. But currently right now, when Nick Aldis locks it in, it is gorgeous looking. He makes it look so painful. He makes it look so just like take a snapshot of this and put it in the Louvre. It is so cool the way he works to it and just makes it look as genuinely, authentically like he's really trying to hurt you. And there's been several times he's won titles and won matches with that move. The Cloverleaf is just every time I create a character wrestler in a game and I have to pick a finisher, when it comes time to selecting the submission, I always get the Cloverleaf every time. I love that move. Absolutely love that move. Let's see. We'll come back over here. Will said his number 5 is the Stone Cold Stunner. I think a lot of us are going to have that somewhere on our list, probably, or on our honorable mentions. But Joey, let's come back to you. Number 5.
Number 5. Now this one, like we said, number 6 through 10 was really hard to decide when you have all these moves left over. But number 1 through 5, I think, was a little easier. But then picking my 1 through 5, this in particular, number 5, I was debating moving it up, but I'm going to keep it at number 5 where it's dead center in the middle. And that is the F5. It's one of my favorite of all time just because Brock is one of my favorite of all time. And It's that 2002, 2003 era. I was about 9-10 years old at the time.
Here comes the pain!
Yeah, that was really the epitome for me of wrestling, that 2002 to 2004 era. That was... everybody says, the Attitude Era.
Ruthless aggression, man. Ruthless aggression, 100%. Loved it.
Really, Ruthless Aggression, honestly, is the era of wrestling, specifically WWE, that made me a lifelong wrestling fan.
Me too.
That carried throughout,
Me too.
my college years, my adult years to now, and that era of Brock Lesnar. The next big thing, the F5. It's one of those moves that, I mean, again, you see Brock now, he does 10 of them in one match with Suplex City. But,
yeah.
I mean, back then, you got hit with that, whether it was Rikishi, anybody in the ring that he would hit it on.
Yep.
It was done.
I agree wholeheartedly. I love the F5. Remember on SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, when you could do the plant one or the one where you basically throw him completely out of the ring. I love those moves. That was great. Yeah, it fit his character perfectly. He's just a hoss. He's just a hoss that can lift up and just throw anybody across the way. And I love the name of it. I really do. It's great. It took me forever to realize, why is it an F5? And then I took meteorology in high school. I'm like, oh, tornado. That's why it's an F5. I had no clue. Everybody just started calling it the F5, and no one explained what that meant. So,
when I interviewed,
press on the computer to get full screen.
Exactly.
At one point, I interviewed Dr. Tom Pritchard, who actually helped, train Brock Lesnar in OVW. And he said, looking at wrestling today, like, Brock is probably the most legitimate that there is today. Like, he's there's no one like him. And that move in particular is just, someone's not getting up after that.
And I 100% agree. I remember one of the episodes of our show on the SmackDown podcast, I forgot who it was that said that there could potentially be another Shawn Michaels, a.k.a. like Adam Cole. There could potentially be another, John Cena, like Austin Theory. People could think he could potentially become John Cena. But then he said after that, there will never be another Brock Lesnar. And I agree with him. There won't be. He truly is a piece of platinum that will never be found again. He truly is. I believe it with all my heart. Tristen, you're number 55555.
My number five.
If you say the Spinner Rooney, I'm gonna fall out of my chair, dude.
All right, so my number 5 is used by a guy who was a tag team, and he's in the Hall of Fame now, and he runs a wrestling school, and he's one of the main side characters of the WWE 2K22 game, Booker T. So my number 5 is the Spinner Rooney.
That you set that up perfectly. That was great.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me?
Kidding you.
I'm about to say, come on.
I want to see you really fall out the chair. No, my number 5, man. My number 5 is used by, when I grew up and I got into wrestling, I realized that this wrestler was not famous for his wrestling moves because he wasn't really a great wrestler. He could wrestle, but he never needed to.
Right.
He was more famous for his charisma in the ring. But when he hit that finishing move, as simple as it may be, you always knew that was it. So for my number 5 is the Hulk Hogan leg drop.
I can't believe Bobby Mack got one. Oh my gosh. No, I will say this. Hogan did not need a lot of moves to get over. We've all said that. But like you said, it's a dumb move, but it's because it's Hogan doing it that it works. It just works. And again, if you ever go watch the WWE's top 50 finishers of all time, it's a special. I think you can watch it on Peacock. They always sell Hogan had one of the biggest tree trunk legs in the business. So when he hits you with that thing, there were a lot of broken noses and bruised faces and so forth and so on. Plus the dude, weighs 270, so he's dropping his whole weight on that leg. So, but even still, just the fact of, like you said, Tristen, once he hits the leg, he's going for the pin, and you're not getting up.
That's it.
You're not getting up. So I agree 100%. My number 5 is my only tag team finisher. It's my favorite tag team of all time. No one did it better than them. Rick and Scott Steiner's Bulldog off the top rope. I love the 3D. I love the 3D. It didn't make my list. But when Scott Steiner picked you up on his shoulders, and everybody's like, are they going to do the Doomsday Device? And no, he turned him around. And then Rick comes up the top, and he jumps off and grabs that dude by the head and comes down. I challenge you to find a top rope move that looks just like a fluid piece of art. It is so gorgeous. Just watching it, they nailed it every time. And I need to go back. Bobby Mack, maybe you need to help me out here. I don't think anybody ever kicked out of the Steiner Bulldog. I think it was protected their entire career. If I'm wrong, I need to go find the match that did get kicked out of, but I cannot remember it ever getting kicked out of. It's amazing.
As a wrestler, 100%, I'd rather bump for that move than for the Doomsday Device. Any day of the week.
Oh, Doomsday Device is scary.
Any day of the week you can bump me for. I don't mind taking a big bump.
Yeah.
But, you got to throw me ass over tea kettle and, hope that you throw me, which is still clotheslining me, so I'm not really taking my own bump. Rick Steiner any day.
Absolutely. I'm so glad they're finally in the Hall of Fame, and that Bulldog is one of the reasons they are. Gorgeous finisher, 100%. Okay. Oh yeah, Will, you're number 5. I mean, Cole, you're number 5. I don't know why I keep calling you Will, but
So this is made famous by wrestler in the past and now one that currently is. It was made famous by Sonny as well as the Usos. It's called the DUI. No, I'm just kidding.
I wasn't ready for that.
That's an honorable mention.
Someone clip that.
That was good. That was good.
Mention. So, so number 5 for me is again, I'm going back to my childhood, to what really made me stand out as a kid. It's a move that usually when it was hit, it was electrifying, and that was the people's elbow. That was the people's elbow. The reason why was the whole setup. As soon as you saw, what was it, a spine buster, I think?
Yes.
You saw him kick up and look up, and you knew what was coming. As soon as that opponent hit the canvas, you knew it was coming. The kick to the,
oh,
the
gosh.
kick to the leg in, the slow pull of the elbow pad, and watching the light bulbs go off of all the camera bulbs, just as you go from one side to the other side. Another fun move to do your friends.
Yeah,
they could be sleeping on the floor in a sleeping
and then he'd always mock them right before he dropped the elbow.
Yes, loved
you know
it.
what's so great about that move? He always customized it.
Yes,
to who he was in the ring with. So if he was hitting it on Ric Flair,
he'd do
in a little strut.
Yep.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I think at one time he did like a John Cena,
Yep.
thing when he always customized it to who he was in the ring with.
If it was Triple H, he'd crotch chop and then do it. Yep. Exactly.
It was something cool because when he was a heel and being a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, you were just hoping some point or another that other wrestler was going to get up.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 they wouldn't. And once in a while, someone would get up and counter it, but it did not happen often.
Right.
And you knew once that elbow dropped, that was it. I can't remember anybody off the top of my head that kicked out of it. I'm sure there is one or two. I'm sure Austin's kicked out of it. But typically, that elbow drops. And again, making something simple, blowing it up to be a spectacle, and selling people on something simple, just like a back elbow. Something so simple as just dropping an elbow on somebody, making it this huge spectacle to not only be a finish, but to be a I can't think of this, a signature.
Yeah.
Hell, the video games had the rock bottom as the finish, and that was the signature.
Yep.
Just because it was the Rock, and that easily is a top 5 because again, it's one man has done that.
Yeah.
No other man has done the people's elbow, nor I don't think there ever will either.
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley. And
technically, yes.
Remember when they would do it together? Foley would hit you in the junk with his.
Yes.
How about the one where the Rock? I think he was like dressing like in like a Miami kind of suit thing, and he slid.
Yes.
He slid into it. Yes,
that was awesome.
He nailed it perfectly. Like that to me is. When I think of that move, that's what I see.
It was
but
so
if you watch that video and you watch The Rock's face, The Rock, there's a second of uncertainty in The Rock's face.
Oh, for sure.
I think he was supposed to slide.
No.
He didn't slide. He glided.
Yes, he did.
This was sweaty.
Oh, it was beautiful.
That canvas was. I actually just Tuesday I had a situation like that, but it didn't go as well. I came off the ropes in training and was bracing for a crossbody, but I didn't slide. I slipped, and my neck still hurts from a 240-pound man falling on my head. But it also just shows how slippery that canvas can be. And just sliding across it and be able to catch himself and drop it. If that was a shoot, man, how cool is that? Because that's something that we're talking about today.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. Tristen, we're up to you. You're number 4.
Well, my number 4 is been used by my favorite wrestler of all time. If you follow this show a lot, or you ever heard me talk about pro wrestling and you ask me who my favorite wrestler is, I'll tell you the same person over and over. You know, this person has used this move and has beaten all the names from Stone Cold Steve Austin to The Rock. He's beaten Batista with this move, and that move is the Pedigree by Triple H.
Yep. I'm surprised it's not your number 1 then.
Well, I have a number one, but that number one got me in trouble a lot of times.
Okay, that's why it's your favorite. Okay, yeah. No, like I
Better
said,
not be the Cobra.
Yeah.
oh, talk about hyping up a move.
I looked up one. I think Bleacher Report was the one who had it. They have it as number one on their top.
Oh, it's terrible. Like
That movie was so sports entertainment, the Cobra.
It was 100%. That was hilarious. Let's see. Oh yeah, my number 4. This is oh my god. It's one of the first moves that immediately came to my mind, and I just didn't know where I was going to put it. But my gosh, I cannot believe nobody does this move anymore. I wish somebody would bring it back, and that's Booker T's Harlem Hangover. I love that move. Everybody does leg drops off the top rope, and everybody does, splashes and 450s and whatever. Who does a flipping leg drop anymore? Nobody. And I don't know if it's because of the aim of it or because of just the legit, if you do it wrong, you're going to hurt somebody. But that move is the way he did it was so beautiful. And it was, one of those moves that if they didn't do the Heat Seeker as a tag team, if Booker T... But this is before he adopted the scissors kick. If Booker T did that Harlem Hangover and hit you with it, you're not getting up. He won the U.S. title with it. He won the TV title with it. They won tag team titles with it. I don't know. I think he won his first world title with it. He won so many moves in matches in WCW with the Harlem Hangover. And then when he came over to WWE, he rarely did it. He went more towards the bookend and the scissors kick. But
he hit it at WrestleMania 19 against Triple H.
Yeah, that was. I do remember that.
I 100% thought when he hit that, it was over. He was the world champion again.
Yeah.
I just the way he would hit it on Big Show.
And he should have been. Yeah, but we won't go there. That's a whole nother behind the scenes dark side of the ring story. But yeah, 100%. Harlem Hangover, my number 4, and I love it so much. Cole, your number 4.
So my number 4 is going to be pretty popular for the most part. But this will be my first that's going to be made by a tag team. This was my number 1 for a while until I really put thought to it. So I went from 1 to 4 because I thought of a couple other singles that stood out to me. But it's the 3D, the Dudley Death Drop, man. I think Bubba has gone on record saying only one team they've had kick out of the 3D.
Chris Sabin.
Yep.
Chris Sabin.
Yep. So, the 3D is one of those moves that lasted through generations.
20 plus years.
We have other teams using it now and playing homage. We've seen it in ECW. We've seen it in WWF/WWE. We've seen it in TNA/Impact.
New Japan, Progress, everywhere.
ROH.
Everywhere. ROH, yes.
It's in just what Bully and Devon were able to bring the table with that and seeing what others are using it. And I've seen people using it in different variations now. It's one of those moves that, again, simple. It's a slapjack.
Into a cutter. Yeah.
Flapjack, not slapjack, but a flapjack into a cutter. And we see everybody using cutters these days. You don't see, though, that flapjack. Who uses a flapjack anymore?
Yeah.
Unless they're doing a 3D, who's using just the flapjack? So
right.
You don't see that as often. So
yeah, FTR used it to set up the big rig.
Yeah.
So the last person I saw to use it might have been Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not often.
Within the last year, I think I saw maybe at the Royal Rumble or something. I saw him use it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You actually have to think about it. So that means it's not being prostituted out there and seeing it.
Real quick, Cole. Marie Shadows in the chat says Okada uses the flapjack.
Gotcha. Okada doesn't matter.
Those are fighting words, Marie. I'm so sorry. Marie, I'm so sorry.
Is he going to be at Forbidden Door? Is he going to be at Forbidden Door?
I think he could be, actually. I think he could be.
Okada thinks he's bigger than what he is. All right, let's face it. Anyways,
Bobby Mack said, "Who's Okada?"
So yeah, the 3D goes down as my number 4, but again, for a while that was my number 1 because I was thinking it's hard to put a finisher above something that only one person has ever kicked out of.
Yep. 100% cannot agree more. I'm so thankful that the Usos have it. And they call it the 1D, the one and done. I love it. I think it fits them perfectly, and I think it's a move that definitely needs to be consistently held as a move that once you hit it, you're not kicking out. I love that. It's a great move. If there's any
team to take that move, it's got to be the Usos. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think there's another team at the top right now that you could say that can adopt that move and really just make it their own.
In that format, like I said, FTR has the big rig, and we've seen other moves done similar to it. But yeah, the way that move is done that way, I agree. I want the Usos to have it. And fun fact, I want the Usos to break the New Day's record. I want them to go down as the greatest tag team of all time. That's just me. But we'll see. They have a long way to go, but I think they can still do it if they want to. Let's see. Joey, you're number 4.
Number 4, I think someone has said it again. I think these last 5 we're gonna get some repeating ones here. But number 4 for me has got to be one of the most surprising moves of all time. But then when it's set up, it's one of those moves that you hear everybody's going crazy until it's hit, and it's the Sweet Chin Music by Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
It's one of those moves that, like I said, can come out of nowhere, or you get that 5-minute setup of him in a corner, bouncing up and down, waiting to hit that move. So it's one of those moves that I remember from my childhood up until he retired. That was just, especially like when you see against Ric Flair at WrestleMania, the thank you, I love you. Oh, I'm sorry, I love you.
Yes.
And then he hits that move. It's just one of those moves that it makes you happy, it makes you sad in that instant, and it's one of those moves that it controls your emotion.
Yeah.
And like we talked about before, hitting it on Shelton coming off the top rope and he's laying there for 5 minutes. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a move like that ever take place. And I was able to do it as a kid, so it was always fun. Hitting the thigh, hitting that move. So it was always it's one of those moves that will literally live forever. Sweet Chin Music.
100%. Could not agree more. Number 3, we're up to me. My number 3, he's tuning up the band, Sweet Chin Music. Perfect segue. Shawn Michaels is my favorite of all time. And in my opinion, the greatest to ever step through the ropes from bell to bell. Nobody was better than Shawn. And one of the reasons he is because the entire match, at any point, if he turns sideways, it's done in 5 seconds. It's done. And the way he did the kick, I completely 100% agree with what Tristen said earlier about the side thrust kick and how a lot of people think that's Sweet Chin Music. Sweet Chin Music is a full-on rear back, push your whole body forward, off the back leg, through the middle leg. The leg comes up into the jaw. It is over. And that is one of the best moves that you would think it's stupid, but then you think about it. Wait a second. If somebody legit did that to me, I'm going to the hospital. It is a great move, and like I said, all the different moments from Shelton Benjamin to kicking, people that came off the top rope and he hit him with it, like Kurt Angle one time. When I'll never forget when he was embroiled in that heated rivalry with Triple H, and in my opinion, it was probably the greatest rivalry of all time. The Royal Rumble Last Man Standing match in 2004. He had already hit it once. At the very end, they're both bleeding profusely. Shawn has a little bit of energy left. He rears back and he kicks Hunter square in the jaw. I mean, square in the jaw. To the point, literally, the next night on Raw, Hunter is covered. His whole side of his face is purple. And you can tell the camera got up close. It ain't makeup. He bruised his jaw, dude. He flat out took it. It was one of those moments like one of Gunther's chops where the whole room goes, "Oh God, that's real." I mean, he clocked him. It was absolutely so amazing. And so every time Shawn hit it, again, as a heel or as a babyface, you knew unless somebody breaks up this pin, he's going to get the 1, 2, 3 here, and it completely infuriates me. Cole knows this. Every time the Young Bucks do it, every time Adam Cole does it, if they don't finish the match with it, don't do it. Unless you're going to get it kicked out of or unless you're going to get it interfered with, Don't do it because that move is too, like you said, it retired Ric Flair. It won world titles. You should not spit and desecrate such a move.
They made a party out of it.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. I've never understood it. I've never understood it.
What's really cool too? The Sweet Chin Music has such a distinctive sound when it's hit, especially by Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
It's like a cupping or something. It's such a sound. Whereas Super Kick, you can hear it's a slap.
Yeah.
But the Sweet Chin Music had a distinctive sound where it connected like in your neck or your jaw or something.
You're hitting something. Yes. 100%. Yeah. Unless the camera angle's so bad that they miss and still sell it. But usually when he finishes a person, he tells him right up front, you're taking it. You're taking it.
I'll never forget that feud with John Cena for the WWE Championship that they had at WrestleMania, and then the next night on Raw they had that match.
Yes.
And the way that match was just done, hitting that Sweet Chin Music. Oh my God, Shawn Michaels is going to become WWE Champion.
Right.
It's believable.
100%. I missed a few things in the chat, but I know Will said his number 3 is Sweet Chin Music. Bobby said his number 2 is the Razor's Edge / Outsider's Edge. We talked about that earlier. Let me scroll back up here real quick. Maria's our resident New Japan pro wrestling expert, so she helps us out and keeps us in check with that stuff. We're not getting into the Hogan debate again. We've had enough of those tonight. We're not getting at it again. All right. Let's see. Cole, number 3.
All right, number 3 might be the biggest finisher in wrestling, and that's opiates and heart failure. No. To me, number 3 to me will be
shit.
Clip number 3.
And that's it, everybody. We're done.
Number 3 for me is the RKO. It's something that just it comes out of nowhere. It comes at any time of the match. It doesn't matter how much momentum that you have or your opponent has. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the ring, if you're on the top rope, if you're on the apron, if you're out and coming down the aisle. It doesn't matter. The RKO comes out of nowhere, and that whole catchphrase has been amazing over the years. You see other sports using out of nowhere, the RKO out of nowhere. Like you see it on TikTok. You see it everywhere.
It's a meme. It's a flat meme.
It is. It's something that has reached worldwide. Yes. I mean, shoot. Just the other day on Facebook, someone had some guy in a county jail had a cell phone, and they were doing RKOs off their bunks. Like, the RKO is a staple to our world, not just pro wrestling now, the world. And how devastating it is when the RKO is hit. Again, you could be on the highest of highs showing that shine, then out of nowhere, boom, you're cut off, you're done, it's over, 1, 2, 3. It's the way that Randy does that. It's just like a snake. It's just like a snake, and he gets his nickname because of that. I mean, it's just like he slithers and strikes.
Yes,
and the name Viper fits him so well.
The apex predator.
It's
not a gimmick. It's not. And and I like that. I one thing I hate is these documentaries that go behind the scenes with wrestlers, because I love kayfabe and I hate seeing who they are behind. I just hate it.
But we still watch them.
You can't help it.
We can't help it.
But I hate to see how humbled he is and how honest he is about how he basically was given opportunities. He didn't earn shit. He was given them because of his lineage, basically, and he has admitted that, and how he almost screwed up his entire career as a young adult by taking advantage of that. And just seeing how humble he is now and the man that he is now, it makes it hard or it's hard to hate him. But man, when he gets in the ring and he's in that heel mode, man, it's a switch. And he reminds you real quick that he is the apex predator. But nonetheless, number 3, the RKO out of nowhere.
Joey, you're number 3.
Number 3, I gotta go with a move that we've seen over the last I guess you could say 2 years or so, really come back to life as a particular superstar, giving it life. But we saw it main event WrestleMania Night 1 this year, and that is the Stunner.
Wow.
Stone Cold Stunner. It's a move that when it's done, if you were a fan of wrestling as a kid, you were automatically brought back to that time. Especially seeing, Stone Cold Steve Austin hit it. Now seeing Kevin Owens hit it. I love, paying homage and whatnot. And I'm very, very high on keeping history alive and doing it right. That's the most important key, is doing it right.
Yep.
And Kevin Owens out of nowhere really started using the Stone Cold Stunner.
Owens stun. Yep.
Even before I knew that Stone Cold is his favorite of all time.
Yep.
And when that came out, it made sense. And Kevin Owens really ended up, doing right by it. It's not one of those things where he took a super kick and it just became a move. He kept a value to that move. And that's why I gotta go with the Stunner. It's one of the best ever.
It is great. I've got the Stunner in my honorable mentions because I didn't grow up watching WWF in the Attitude Era. I was loyal to WCW, so I never watched it in its heyday, but it still made my honorable mentions. Kevin Owens, I love that you have it. It fits you perfectly. Give it a hop, dude. He goes straight down. Give it that hop, that signature hop that makes everybody go, ah! That's what you need to... You got to add that to it. Maybe he's not doing it on purpose because he doesn't want to completely imitate Stone Cold, but that's what gives it that pop, and that's what lets your opponents do the flop off of it, is to give it that extra little bounce to it. And but he's not doing that. But anyway, and do y'all remember when Stone Cold first started doing it? How dangerous it looked. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, he looked like he broke the dude's neck.
Vince doing it. Vince getting caught in that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And you know what's crazy about that move? I always thought that The Rock had the best sell of that move. And then I saw Scott Hall take that at WrestleMania. I'm like, oh, maybe that's the greatest one. But I think now in 2022, the greatest sell of the Stone Cold Stunner has got to be Austin Theory.
He killed it, man. He killed it.
He jumped so up. He did a move that I used to do jumping on a trampoline. Like, there is just no way he got that high. And just yeah. I loved. Do you remember the one where Triple H got hit with it? And he just stood there like wobbling. Even Pat McAfee just like spit out the beer, like getting hit and just
exactly 100%.
It's a fun move.
It is. It defined an era. It really did. Tristen, you're number 3.
All right. So for my number 3, before I even get into that, I disagree with the whole wrestler behind the scenes thing. Like, I get it. I get it about kayfabe. We still got to keep kayfabe. But I mean, like, if there's guys out there making millions of dollars and they're not keeping kayfabe, I mean, like to each his own, I think that when you do those personal documentaries, because right now there's actually a documentary team following me around as, semi-important as I am, as important to the people that pay money to watch me. I guess once they see that documentary, once you guys get to see that documentary, somebody might be like, oh, wow, like, that's another person that might want to buy a ticket to come see you.
There you go. Yeah.
So I think those documentaries now are really important because everybody watches the movie on HBO and then right after it's done, we watch the behind the scenes. Because we're just curious.
Yeah.
We're curious as to how we made it happen.
Yeah.
And that curiosity will make you enjoy the art form a little bit more. Like the people asked me, the producer of the documentary asked me, they go, is there anything you're not comfortable talking about? I said, brother, WWE is talking about it. I said, what am I not going to tell you?
Yeah.
That you can't hear at WWE. You know what I mean? So if you want to follow me around for a couple of days and see what it's like, keep up. All right, so my number 3 is RKO.
See, you want to disagree with me at one point and then come back and match me on the other. I like it.
I love it.
By the way, the best I think documentary based on wrestling, I think it's free now on Amazon, but you guys got to see if you haven't already. DDP's, I think it's called Relentless.
Yes, really good.
I need to go watch that.
Jake the Snake and Scott Hall and how he. Yeah. Oh my God, man!
Sad as hell.
Had me in tears.
Good.
Had me in tears, man.
I gotta go. I got to go see it 100%.
I think it's free. I think he made it free now, either on Amazon or YouTube.
Yep. I'll probably watch it again tonight. Thanks for. I didn't even know it was on there. Awesome.
Yeah, I need to go find it for sure. And I agree with both sides. Y'all, Cole knows and Tristen knows. I'm a kayfabe guy 100%. I try to stay off Twitter while events are going on. And every now and then I'll tweet a little bit. And if I do tweet, I'll tweet a reaction to something I just saw. I won't try to find stuff out because I hate. No, I love you, man. You do better. You do it better than most people do. But I hate spoilers and I hate contracts and who's moving and who's leaving. I hate that stuff because it takes away a lot of the magic that we grew up loving. But I will say this: if you're going to do that stuff, I can forgive Randy and I can forgive kind of what these legends are doing because of where they're at in the business right now.
Right.
If Randy was doing that when he was 23, then I would have been like, "This is stupid."
It'd be a total poop show.
Yeah, and like I said, like Taker went 30 years and said, "Now I'm ready to talk. Now I'm ready to show you." That I can respect that because then there's no mystique you're spoiling because everybody's already seen it and everybody knows.
Seen it all, right?
Exactly.
Right. I agree. I can definitely agree with that.
30 years in TED Talk.
I think the big thing with me is when I like to suspend my belief for that either 2 or 3 hours that I'm watching.
100%.
And if there's a heel and I want to boo them, then like the whole Lacey Evans things, I couldn't hate Lacey Evans.
No.
I'll never be able to hate Lacey Evans again.
No.
Just by knowing her background.
Who trained you in pro wrestling?
I'm being trained right now at the Continental Championship Wrestling in Jacksonville, Florida with Chris Turner. He works hand in hand a little bit with Glacier with Ray.
Okay.
As well as we got quite a few guys that just came back from Nightmare, as well as a couple guys that just came from Tom Pritchard's. And now,
awesome.
Yep.
Does Glacier still train with QT up in Nightmare?
Yep, sure does.
Cool. So yeah, I was trained by old school people as well too. Like brother, when you're talking about keeping the kayfabe, we had to keep the kayfabe.
Oh, Bubba Ray's huge on it. Huge on it. Yeah.
Even for me, doing intermission, I never go out doing an intermission because the second I open my mouth and talk to somebody, they're gonna go, "Oh, this guy's a really nice guy."
Yes.
I'm not a nice guy. I don't want you to believe that.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I mean, we're the same way. And even when it comes to going to lunches on our own times, you don't want to be caught out in public with your opponent.
Yep.
You don't want to be caught out in public with a face if you're a heel. As small as an organization we might be, it still means a lot to that organization. Yes. Mm-hmm. And it means a lot to me to do the same. And even when it comes to merchandise tables and such. You still mainly see faces out there. You're not seeing as many heels.
Right.
Doing as much as I want to be there and to sell my stuff. I respect that. CCW is a very old school promotion.
Good.
And I 100% respect that.
Remind me when we get off the air because I'm I'll kayfabe what I'm thinking. Remind me when we get off the air for me to tell you how to sell merch. I'll teach you how to sell merch.
Yeah,
there you go.
Sounds good.
Because I'm a heel and I sell merch.
There you go.
Sounds good.
That became really important to me. I was at it was actually recently. It was over the last year or so. I went to a local show here in New Jersey, a smaller company promotion.
Was it in Ridgefield Park?
Yes. Yes, it was. And there was a heel in the ring. And the match ended. And after the match, that person came out dressed in normal clothes and kind of interacted with the crowd during other matches. And I remember this dad sitting next to me with 2 kids. And the little girl was confused as I even heard her ask, "Well, isn't that the bad guy?"
Right. Right. Didn't
really know how to respond.
Yep.
Yeah.
She said, "Well, he's playing a character. His character is the bad guy."
Oh, bad dad.
In my mind, that was done to me. This dad, not knowing any better, but really on that performer.
Yeah.
Might have just cost that girl to be a lifelong wrestling fan.
Yes, 100%.
Literally broke my heart because I was like, if that was me, I wouldn't be talking to you guys today if that was me.
100%.
What show was it?
What was that?
What show was it?
I don't remember the show. I know it was in Ridgefield Park. It was Pro Wrestling something. I don't remember what
it was Pro Wrestling Magic.
Yes.
Yeah, my friend Steve runs that one.
Yes.
Very cool. Man, small world.
I have one of my friends. I don't. You probably know Vinny Pacifico, good friend of mine, and he invited me to the show, and I went there. He was actually main eventing with EC3 at that show.
That was like 2 months ago.
Yeah, no, this is the second time I went to that show. The first time I went a while back, and that's just the company, and yeah, it happened at one of those shows, and
that's rough.
I couldn't believe, like, damn.
I think that's where it benefits me because I'm an asshole when the camera's off too.
Yep.
You know what? It works.
Yep. Ask him. Yep. Ask MJF. It always works. Over here in the chat, Tristen Marie Shadow says, "Please help me learn how to sell merch too."
Is that a wrestler?
No, she's a blogger and a writer for. She's also a guest host on Tama's Island with New Japan. So.
Oh, okay. Because she was a wrestler, I'm like, hey, set up a Zoom link, and I tell everybody my secret.
Man, yeah.
I smell some sort of seminar coming your way.
I'm telling you, man. Well, watch the documentary when it comes out. That'll probably tell us everything we need to know.
Oh no, I will not put that in. But I'll tell you this, right? With the gimmick that I used, the first show that I did it at, I sold more merch than the baby faces. Promise you.
Yep.
Promise you, I sold more shirts than the baby faces.
Yeah.
It's a scam that I'm running.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you guys are saying. I've preached it from the biggest thing. When people say the phrase, "I love that guy, he's a great heel," then he's not a good heel.
Right.
I've never understood that. I can only name maybe 3 heels right now in the business that legitimately, if I've met them in person, it would take me really praying under my breath not to hit them in the face. There's very few guys that do that now. The NWO brought in the cool heels, and ever since then, it's ruined pro wrestling in so many ways. If anybody, and granted, they're trying, but does anybody truly hate Roman now? No. How can you hate him?
Roman's almost like the Joker.
He doesn't say anything that would make you hate him.
Yeah.
He says things that make you want to cheer him. Like
same thing with Seth Rollins. Same thing with half these guys. Even Becky Lynch is doing the best she can to get booed, but she's got too much history. We know who she really is. That's the problem. Once people see it's okay, I'll put her in the same category as Stone Cold. Once we know that is Steve Austin, you can't shake Vince McMahon's hand and expect us to boo you. We're not going to boo you. Right. We know who the real guy is. It's not going to happen. So
I watched Becky Lynch on Logan Paul's podcast.
Yes, I did too.
So like when you see her talk like that and she's hanging out and being cool and then she's being a heel in the ring, it
doesn't make sense.
It's different.
Here's how I justify it to myself, right? When people are like, "Oh, well, you're a heel, you shouldn't be doing," I'm like, look, I actually like that person.
Yeah.
That's why. That's the only reason why I'm not want to kill that person. I actually like that person. There's no competition with that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to have a conversation with who I think is one of the greatest heels of all time recently, and JBL. That guy.
Incredible.
He told me, he said, I specifically requested to not have merch.
Yes.
I did not want anybody.
Yes.
I didn't want anybody to wear my stuff because I remember watching little kids with the white towels around their neck, and I would yell at them in the crowd like, "Take that crap off!" Like, ugh.
Right.
Yep. Well, I applaud. One of my favorite podcasts to listen to is After the Bell with Corey Graves. He's on like a secret crusade inside the WWE to get heels to become heels again. And he recently had JBL on there. JBL said he came out right at the beginning of the JBL phase, and he saw a kid wearing his shirt. And he came back through the curtain and said, "Vince, how do I even have a shirt?" and Vince said, "I don't know. It's something that got past me." And he said, "Fix it now." And literally, they did. They went back and they told the designers, "You will not print another JBL T-shirt." It's true. It's 100% true. And another good one for me, Baron Corbin. Yep. He on purpose says, "Okay, what can I do to piss you off? I hate you look like an Olive Garden waiter. I'm going to wear it every single day. I hate that you ride out on the throne thing. I'm going to do it every single match." Everything.
Which version of Baron Corbin?
Every one of them. Every one of them.
Where he doesn't shave his hair. Like inevitably, the four of us in this Zoom right now in front of all the people, Like we're going to be bald, right? Like the sunroof is going to open, right?
Right here.
And it's like, look, it's turned into a convertible. Shave your damn head. What do you think you are, George Jefferson?
Yeah. I say over here in the chat, I said Corbin. Allison did the rolling eyes and then said his name. That's the point. He's doing his job. If you feel that way, that's the point.
Right.
100%.
There's a reason why his finishing move. By the way, Drew McIntyre being the first person ever to
ever, yes,
at WrestleMania, that was protected heavily because he was such a good heel.
Yes, 100%.
You know who I would prefer to be a heel? Drew McIntyre, because he does nothing for me. I think he's a great performer, right? And I'm not talking about the man because I don't know the man. I'm talking about storyline wise, like gimmick wise. I would rather see Drew McIntyre as a heel.
I agree.
That's
100%.
it.
He's
getting the 2015 Roman Reigns treatment right now. Like,
yeah, I think so too.
Actually, a heel.
Like, what does he do with that big sword? Butter bread? Because I've never seen him do anything.
Not a damn thing.
That's such a good point. Now, again, they pulled the curtain back. I know too much of his story now to hate him.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. And now with this big pay-per-view event in Cardiff, it's a countdown to see whether Cody's going to beat Roman or whether Drew's going to beat Roman. It's all on the table now, so we'll find out. But let's move along, guys. We got to hurry up and get this thing done. My number. Oh yeah, we did number 3. We did number 3. We finished it out. So Cole, we're back to you. Number 2.
Rock bottom. Mainly because it was The Rock. It went right there with the people's elbow. When you saw him, the cool thing that The Rock used to do with that, he didn't just hook you and go. He hooked you and you paused.
Yes.
He let you think this is about to happen. He let you get up out of your seat, and as soon as you saw that, you stood up, you got your cameras ready, your little 35 millimeters or 110s, whatever they were, and you were ready to see him go up and down.
Yeah.
And just again, that was another move that would catch you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The rock bottom. It just the way that he would do it, the way he would lay flat in the air as well. I've seen others try to do it where they're almost landing on their knees, but the way that he would just come flat in the air, come down. Yeah. It's just as much as I hated the guy, because being a Stone Cold fan, I hated The Rock.
Yeah.
I respect him so much now.
Yeah.
What he did for the industry and how much I love him now, looking back at it and everything that he's done.
Right.
Being a Stone Cold fan, I hated Triple H. I hated Undertaker. I hated The Rock. I hated damn near the entire roster because Austin feuded with so many different
Yes. It was Austin versus the world.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
And just seeing what The Rock was, just what he's able to do as the industry, becoming the John Cena before John Cena was John Cena.
Yeah.
And I love what he's still doing with the Young Rock.
Yes.
I love what the Young Rock is so on point with the characters as well. The way I'm going to tell you sorry if any spoilers here, but there's Bam Bam Bigelow is in one of the episodes, a couple of the episodes, and holy crap, does that guy look like Bam Bam Bigelow?
Yes, he does. They cast this show perfectly. It's such an
underrated show.
It is.
It is, and I really hope it gets renewed for a season 3 as well. But no, the Rock Bottom, and it has been featured in so many WrestleManias, WrestleMania main events. It's part of Stone Cold Steve Austin's legacy.
Yep.
The Rock Bottom is it will go down as one of those moves that I will love until the time I rest. So number 2, Rock Bottom.
Yep. It's going to probably show up one more time, and that's when Young Rock's going to skyrocket to number 1 on TV as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood.
At that point, does he announce his shoot running for president? Or
I'll vote for him. I'll vote for him. Absolutely.
The Rock go up there and just cut promos on people.
Yeah, for the love of God. Those debates, imagine those debates. Oh, man.
Okay, so Mr. Biden, that what you think? It doesn't matter what you think!
You're going to see, President Dwayne Johnson going one-on-one with Vladimir Putin to talk about,
oh, man,
world stuff, and this guy just with his hands and the sweat.
Yeah.
My God.
I can see it now. What is your name? My name is Vlad. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Oh no, it's gonna be. He's like, Mr. President, can I have? I'm gonna love it, dude. I'm gonna love it. He's got to do it.
What?
Yeah.
Russia wants to go to war, and The Rock shows up to the UN, and he goes, Russia wants to go one.
One.
Agreed. One.
You know what?
It's the real moment when he starts calling a different world leaders popcorn farts.
Putin, let me tell you what you can do with that nuclear missile. I want you to shine it up real nice.
He's going to say that to Elon Musk. He's going to have Elon Musk as vice president.
Oh, man. God, we'll be here all night, but I gotta ask. I gotta ask y'all a question. When we get Roman and Rock at 39, title or no title?
It doesn't need a title, but
it doesn't need one. It doesn't need
I got
it.
I got a feeling the title is going to be somehow in it, but it doesn't need one.
It needs to be the title. It needs to be. In order for you to be the head of the table feeds everybody, and the person that makes the most money is the champion. It has to be for the belt.
Yeah.
The question is it unified or is it just the universal?
Depends what WWE is doing at that point.
I honestly want. I predicted this after WrestleMania this year, and I'll make it quick. I really want the two main events next year to be Rock and Roman Universal title, and the WWE title is Seth and Cody. And just from WrestleMania this year, you run that story with Cody and Seth to the moment where Cody becomes champion. Because when he talked about it this year, the Raw after WrestleMania, that was when Seth, came out and they had that meeting. So I would love to see that third match between them to be for that title.
I personally hope the titles never separate again. I'd rather them be consolidated into one belt. Personally,
agree because I feel like, and I know we're going along. We need to just have a regular show where we just talk about wrestling like weekly. But there's a lot of good points here. I feel like the main events of Raw and SmackDown are way better now that we're not getting these. Raw
is proving weekly it doesn't even need a champion on the show to be good.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, because you're working harder to build the show.
Yes. Now those tag team titles and that U.S. title means something because they're not being overshadowed by the other belt. Now, I love your idea though. Personally, I'm still hoping and praying that it's gonna be so painful. But when RK Bro breaks, we got to get Cody and Randy. We got to get Legacy reunited. That's gonna be a great match, and I hope that is for a title at some point.
Oh boy.
Because Randy's chasing 17, and when he and John Cena have their final face-off, that's going to mean something.
Oh, that into Busted Open, right?
Yep.
I think I was going to say, you're the one who I saw you post something about that. I totally agree that it should be Cena and Randy, and the winner gets 17.
Yeah.
I was a mark for that. I liked it.
I want to see it so bad. I got to give a shout-out. Kyle was the one who suggested that be both of their last match, but then Randy came out and said he's got 10 years left in him. But hey, you know what? I would be perfectly fine if Randy's strutting down that ramp the next night on Raw holding that title and he's number 17 and nobody could say he's not the greatest of all time.
Randy just came out and said he's gonna be the next one to follow The Undertaker to go the distance. So
yeah, I would love it. I want to see it so bad. Joey, you're number 2.
Number 2, make it quick. Number 2 for me is my favorite of all time, my favorite wrestler of all time, his finisher, and that is the Frog Splash by Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero. There was so many versions of the Frog Splash. You have the 5-star Frog Splash. You have Montez Ford. You have Ray and Dominic hitting it and Seth hitting it, all these guys hitting it. But when Eddie Guerrero connected, just like you said before when you picked yours, the Frog Splash connected in a different way.
Yes.
The arms went out right before he hit for that impact, and you would hear him hit the mat, and just every time he hit it, there was always some controversy around it because he'd either lie, cheat, and steal to get to that moment. But even when he was a heel, it was beautifully done for me. Frog Splash, number 2.
Love it.
Guerrero.
Love it. Tristan, number 2.
I keep it short and sweet. Rock Bottom.
That's 2 in a row, Tristan. What's happening?
Yeah, y'all got the same brain up here.
2 in a row.
Yeah. All right. I'll expand a little bit on my number 2 because it's the first move I think I ever remember doing to to a stuffed animal or a pool noodle or something. And
What are
that
you doing your stuffed animals?
I mutilated them off the trampoline off that top rope turnbuckle I had. Oh my gosh. Anyway, my number 2. Ooh, yeah, the cream rises to the top and nobody kicks out of the flying elbow. I loved it. Is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. The moment he left the turnbuckle, his body never moved. It was a full locked movement until he finally came down with that elbow. And my gosh, there's been several duplicators, but there's never been anybody who's replicated it exactly the way Macho Man did it. And I would argue it should probably go down as maybe the greatest flying finisher of all time. It's just so gorgeous. And he was no slouch either. He could go 3/4 of the way across the ring with that thing. He was so agile and so much leg strength. And God, I miss that he died so young. He had so much coaching time left in him. So many people that he could have mentored on how to do moves and make them matter. The matches he had with Steamboat, with Ric Flair, with Hogan. So many, DDP, so many classic matches. And Marie Shell's probably a good point. Jay Lethal is the closest I've seen to doing Macho Man's elbow drop because he emulates him so much in doing it. So I 100% agree. Jay Lethal does a great job. Kairi Sane does a pretty good job. But other than that, Randy Savage, nobody touches his elbow. I'm sorry. It's just absolutely beautiful. All right, guys, drum roll. We are at our number 1. Cole, what's your number 1? I think I know what it is, but go ahead.
You definitely should. The Stunner. The Stunner has to be number 1 for me. It's something that I have. I use myself.
What?
In a different variant. It's the Stunner was something. The best thing about the Stunner is watching how different people sold it. The Rock being one of the best to sell the Stunner.
Yeah.
McMahon being one of the worst to sell the Stunner. The way
this year.
Yes.
the way Scott Hall has sold the Stunner, it was cool to watch because you saw once the kick went up and the back turned, you knew what was coming, and the times where the Rock would counter it. It gave you butterflies because you get that because anytime the Stunner was hit, it's over.
Yes,
it's over. It's over.
Yes.
The Stunner, I just think it's what it did for me, to the point where I wanted to bring it on to my move set in a different manner, where instead of doing just the kick and Stunner, I do the kick, kind of a look around, and then swing, grab, and Stunner. It's just my way of paying respect to him. That if I look at it this way, man, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and them, they raised me as a kid. I sat in front of a TV in front of those guys, and I followed what they did more than I did my parents.
Yeah,
they were my idols growing up, and just seeing what the Stunner has evolved into. We're seeing guys do it. What didn't Mikey Whipwreck do some kind of Stunner?
Yeah.
You got Kevin Owens doing the Stunner. You're starting the unfortunate side of it is you're starting to see it a little bit more common. Austin was for the longest time the one that did it, but now it seems like everybody's putting their own spin on it.
But nobody does it the way he did it. Nobody does it the way he did it. Yeah.
And there's been times that because like you're talking about that hop, it's weird because you really have to be on the same page as your opponent. Your opponent has to be relaxed doing that, because if they're stiff and you're trying to do that hop, it just looks weird.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of do a swing instead of a hop.
Right.
Just the way that he made things look.
Yes.
And drop it. And I just remember having posters on my wall of him midair holding the Rock.
Yes.
With cut off jeans on, with jean shorts on, and a beer in the other hand. And it's just,
memories.
I won't lie to you. Like I came to tears during WrestleMania because typically I'm the same as you. I'll tweet about something that I'm watching or something, but when he came out,
put the phone down and take it in.
I did.
Yes,
that's exactly what I did. I turned my phone over so I couldn't even see it go off. I put my arm on the back of the couch and I just sat back, and I was that 8, 9, 10-year-old kid again. And as they worked their way through the crowd, I was mesmerized. My suspension of reality, or my reality was suspended at that. Bret
Hart all over again. Yep.
It was. It really was. I was in that moment and I felt like a kid again.
Yeah.
And it brought so much emotion out of me, which pro wrestling's supposed to do.
Yes.
Pro wrestling brings that true emotion out of you. And just seeing him, hit a stunner. I believe didn't KO hit a stunner on him in that match?
Yes, I said that. I said he's going to take KO stunner at least once. I agree.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that and just popping. And just like, because I can't remember Austin taking a stunner other than from The Rock.
Becky Lynch.
Yes, the Becky. Yep.
Who honestly, I hate that she took the rock bottom. She should use the stunner.
Yeah. Yes.
She should use it. Yeah.
Yep. I just remember, The Rock did it to him before, but you don't see too many people give Stone Cold Steve Austin the stunner.
Nope.
So seeing that, and it's just Stone Cold did more for my life than I want to admit,
right?
As a 32-year-old adult at this point, he did in the whole era did so much for me. The stunner, 100%. I mean, I can't put it in any other words. Like it just means a lot to me.
Over here in the chat, Bobby Mack said Hulk Hogan's leg drop number 1. I'm gonna pray for you, man. The Wheel Gray said Macho Man's elbow drop number 1. Not a bad pick, man. Not a bad pick. And Marie said, so no stun gun from Tama, no Blade Runner from Jay White. I can't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, Marie. I'm watching Raw. I'm watching NXT. I'm watching AEW Dynamite. I'm watching SmackDown. I'm watching Rampage. And I'm trying to get NWA when I can. I don't have time for New Japan. I'm sorry. It's just so hard.
What time's it on? Like 3 a.m.?
We went from a time of wanting more pro wrestling to now
we got way too much now.
Yeah. We get it.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's still great.
I know he's on Impact. I can't watch Impact either. I don't have a subscription. I can't watch it. It's terrible.
It's like going to a cat house. You have a lot of options. You can only choose one at a time.
Oh, gosh. Moving on. Joey, number 1, Joey. Number 1. What you got?
Number 1, I'll keep it short and sweet, just like the move itself. It's the 3 most devastating letters in all of sports entertainment. And no, bro is not a letter, as he says on Raw. RKO for me. It's that one move that, when it's done, doesn't matter how it's done, whether it's a botch or the way he wants it done, it looks beautiful. It's just timeless.
I agree. Who's your favorite RKO he's ever hit?
There are so many that he's been able to hit it on. I honestly think my favorite one is from the Royal Rumble. I believe it was 2007 or 8. He spun it out from a twist of fate on Jeff Hardy, and it was beautiful.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, that was good.
Hardy was ready to hit that twist of fate. He went to swing the arm, and Randy spun him around and hit that RKO.
Yep.
The whole thing was midair, and he retained the WWE Championship. It might have been 07 or 08. I'm not sure. It was the year that Cena came back and won the Rumble.
Right.
30.
Yeah, that
any
was
of them
08,
any of them that he's hit on anybody coming off the top or springboarding, and he's hit the midair. It's just unbelievable in the timing.
Yeah.
Well, look what he did this past week on Raw. He hit everybody.
Everybody. Yep. 20 years, man. 20 years.
Yep.
Incredible.
The one from Seth Rollins from the curb stomp into the RKO.
Yep. Evan Bourne doing the shooting star press into it. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Yep. Evan Bourne. That one is the most impressive to me. Shooting star press into an RKO.
Yep.
Take my money.
That's all.
Coordination, Batman.
Yeah.
He hit one recently on Chad Gable. I think it was
the moonsault. Yes, the moonsault. Yes. Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love it. 100%. Tristen, number 1.
Go ahead and say
all right, look. Before we even do a number 1, I just want to go back to when we were talking about the stunner. Like, I want to go on record and say that if this is the last stunner that Vince McMahon has taken, you gotta look at the first stunner that Vince McMahon has
almost
taken.
Identical.
Same damn thing.
Stone Cold has, Vince McMahon has taken good stunners, but you got to think about this when it comes to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is a 76-year-old billionaire who doesn't have to do it.
Exactly.
And he did it.
Yes.
Either way, win, lose, or draw, he's collecting a payday because of WrestleMania.
Yes.
He didn't have to step foot into the ring, and he did that. So we need to give Vince McMahon his flowers for what he did. Give him his flowers for what he did, because Vince McMahon, I appreciate you, stunner.
Stunner number 1. Yep. I'll never forget.
Tristen, when are we getting booked together?
Hey, brother, you work heel and I work heel.
Y'all be a nasty tag team.
Look, man, I got a place to stay in Florida. My mom lives in Florida, so if I'm booked, brother, I'll be down there.
We won't be the Dudleys. We'll be the Budleys.
I'm down with that.
I love that.
Book it.
Tristan, I'll get the tables.
Wait, I didn't tell you to go get it yet.
Where are the tables?
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. Oh, I love this. I love this. My number 1, not surprising. I've talked about it a long time. My number 1, Diamond Cutter / RKO. It is so good. And I'm in the minority. I love Randy. Randy's in my top 5 all time. I love Randy. He will go down. I've loved him from day one. He's one of the first times even as a guy that hated heels, I was like, why can't I hate this guy? I wanted to so bad, but he was so good. He was so fluid. He was so perfect. Everything he did made sense effortlessly. Even when he was being a douchebag in the back and acting like an idiot and almost getting himself fired over and over again. Then he'd go out there and just nonchalantly put on a 5-star match. Just, the dude's insane. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. One of the few real brilliant minds we have left in the business now, the way the guy does it. But as much as I love Randy, the way DDP said, I'm going to hit it a different way every single match I have. You're never going to see it coming. And when I hit it, he waited for the boring part of the match too. There's a moment when, they're like in a headlock or he's got a guy up in a fireman's carry and he's like, okay, they're lulled to sleep. Diamond Cutter! he would do it every time. And then all of a sudden you see the whole place just explode onto their feet, flash bulbs everywhere. And people are like, oh my gosh, I missed it. He hit it. And just like with Randy, once he hit it, game over. Game over. It was so great when he hit it on Savage, when he hit it on Hogan, when he hit it on all those guys. It made me so happy because he would hit and run. He would hit it and then get through the crowd where nobody could catch him. But yeah,
I remember when he hit it on Chris Benoit to win the world title, and I was like, is that supposed to happen? I'm not sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Diamond Cutter and RKO. It's a meme. It's everywhere. My favorite meme is the Olympic diver. All of a sudden, Randy runs from behind her and off the diving board. He catches her in midair, puts her in the. That's one of the best.
There's that one video.
There's some good ones.
Yeah, like the Hulk coming out and doing the whole thing, and Randy.
I love them. I love them all.
There's some good ones.
One of my favorite ones that was real was these 2 Pee-wee kids doing a football drill, and the coach is mad at going, hit him, and all of a sudden they go, okay, down, sit, RKO, and the coach wanted to get mad, but the coach turned and he was laughing under his hat. I was like,
I also think one of the best RKOs, and I think it's kind of underrated. When Orton and Brock Lesnar were having their setup for SummerSlam that one year, and Lesnar's standing in the ring, and Heyman is just like talking about Brock Lesnar. He's the greatest. No one can hit the RKO. No one can. And out of nowhere, Orton comes from behind him and just lays him out.
Yes.
And Heyman is like, "Oh my god!
Yes.
Oh my god!" Like just.
Yes.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah. One of the first times I did start hating him was when he hit Stacy Keibler with it. I was like, oh man, if you're willing to do it to a woman, I hate you, dude. And then, oh man. Okay, here's when he finally got my ultra hate, and I wanted Triple H to beat his tail so bad. When he did it to Stephanie and then kissed her in front of him, handcuffed to the rope. I was like, this dude's got a death wish. This dude is done. We won't get into that because the match at WrestleMania was so badly done. They should have been allowed to kill each other, and they weren't. Yeah. But anyway, I know what they were trying to do. And on top of that, not only is that the stipulation, you got to follow Taker and Shawn. I just felt so bad for him. I felt so bad. But anyway.
That was the main event of that show, right?
Yes, it was the last match.
Yeah.
Yep. And they had to follow that. No, 100%. So, yeah, RKO Diamond Cutter. Real quick, Cole, do you have any honorable mentions we didn't say?
I had the frog. Well, that we did say I do. I have the frog splash on there. I had the diving headbutt because that ended 3 lives, so that was definitely a finisher. And then I also,
What the heck? Oh my gosh, man!
I mean, where's the lie? And then I had.
It's not funny, dude. Why am I laughing? It's not funny.
And then I had the Swanton Bomb, just because the way that Jeff Hardy suspends himself and his rotation's so late. Like me, front bumping, it actually took me a little while to train my body to front bump again when I first started training.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do any kind of somersault of any sorts for years.
Yeah.
To train my body to do that midair, not jumping off of anything, just on my feet.
Right.
That took forever.
Yeah.
Longer than it should have. But watching him suspend his just suspend reality and gravity and then tuck at the last second.
Looks like a freaking stealth bomber.
It does.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah.
And so that was definitely on my honorable mentions. But yeah, for sure, that would be the 3.
Joey, what about you?
I had a couple actually. I had the crippler crossface, the 619, and the West Coast Pop.
Booyaka!
Yep. And my third was the angle slam.
I love the angle slam. Man, what a great move! What a great move! I love it. Tristen, your honorable mentions if you have any.
Of course, you me him agreed again. It's the fly headbutt. Not for the same exact reason. Not for nothing. When I was wrestling, when I first started wrestling years ago, and I was looking for a finish, this woman that I was dating at the time, her brother had a bunch of wrestling DVDs he wanted to get rid of, and one of them was Chris Benoit. And I watched the DVD, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I can try that move. So I go to the school, and I tell Nunzio, a.k.a. Little Guido, a.k.a. Little Guido Maritado, a.k.a. hey, he was on Impact like 2 weeks ago, I think. And it was like, I wonder if I can do that. So he goes, all right, Tristen, try it standing. So I tried it standing. He goes, all right, Tristen, try it from the first bottom rope. So I did that. He goes, all right, Tristen, try it from the middle. All right, good, looks good. All right, Tristen, try it from the top. Okay, do it from the middle. So eventually I worked up to do it from the top rope, and now I use that for whatever. So the fly headbutt, good move. Bonsai drop, nothing like getting cheeks to the chest. That's a lot of cheeks to the chest.
Yeah.
You're not kicking out from that one.
Nope.
And my last one was Airborne by Evan Bourne.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one more that I think that nobody mentioned as well was the Vader bomb. That's a lot of weight coming on down on a man as well. The Vader bomb.
Make sure you poop before you go to the ring.
Oh my god!
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
That are getting hit by Bam Bam's moonsault. Oh jeez! My gosh, crazy.
Rest in peace, man.
First.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy that we didn't, and it wasn't even done on purpose. I don't think any one of us picked a women's superstar finisher.
I mean, the figure 4 kind of goes down.
I have 2 of my honorable mentions.
I have one. For me, it was the Widow's Peak.
That's one of mine. Oh man, Victoria's Widow's Peak is dangerous. I love that thing.
Yeah.
I love that thing. So that was one. And then, like I said, I had the Razor's Edge of Stunner, the figure 4, Widow's Peak. My other, and I cannot wait to see what she does with it, where she goes. But Ember Moon's Eclipse.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That move is gorgeous. Yes. I love that.
Amazing. She's amazing with that. Yep.
Man,
she hits it perfectly every time.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Best ever was Mickie James. Mickie sold the heck out of that. It was absolutely mind-boggling. Dakota Kai took a good one too. But man, she just cut a really emotional. Y'all probably saw the making circulation now. The interview she just did with Chris Van Vliet and how it's making rounds now. I really hope it serves as a wake up call. I really hope a lot of these people take notice of that. If even half of what she said is legit, then something's got to change. Something's got to change. You can't.
It kind of seems like everything's going backwards after what she said.
Yeah.
It just didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like it. But say rumor has it Triple H is back at NXT, so hopefully that's tightening up some things there. But like I said,
that was a big part of what she talked about too. Triple H disappeared.
Yep.
And I think that's a huge thing.
100%.
Triple H is a really big factor, I think, in WWE in general.
That's going to be one hell of a documentary, The Rise and Fall of NXT.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't kidding, man. That's definitely going to be one. Dark Side of the Ring NXT edition.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
He better, Triple H should be careful because he might go back there and find that his name has changed to something else.
Double H.
Just H, because it's...
Right.
He can't have more than one. Yeah.
Right. They're doing the graphic, the technical director who's doing the lower thirds a favor, and it's just H.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
One letter H.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna call him Trips.
And I want to call all those people who make all those graphics all the time. And no, I don't think ever Triple H will be all elite. So people need to stop making those graphics.
No, yeah, never.
Yeah, being all elite.
Never.
Like, I don't know what people are doing with those graphics.
Never.
Well,
It
dude.
makes for awkward Thanksgiving. Never.
Yeah. I mean, the day he becomes all elite is the day that Tony Khan and Vince McMahon are working together. I mean,
Right.
Truth.
Right. And he's too financially invested, with his stocks and all the other stuff. So I mean,
But then again, if you ask Vince Russo, they've been working together all along, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude. Will said Triple H will be known as just Hearst from now on. Oh, man.
I kind of like it, Hearst. Yeah,
Everybody already named to Hunter. So, I mean,
Yeah. Just Hunter.
Dude, the fact that literally we were like, 1 hour away from losing him?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, jeez. I'm so glad he's okay.
yeah.
I've said it over and over again. I'll put him maybe top 2 wrestling minds in the world right now. We've got to keep him in a
Who would you
in a
put number
place.
one? Who would you put number one?
Currently living right now, Paul Heyman.
Okay,
agreed.
take
That's
that.
my guy. Number 1 for me.
Yep.
I'll take
That's
that.
amazing for a guy that's never really stepped foot in a wrestling ring to actually work.
Yeah.
He's been outside of the wrestling and he booked the thing. And I think with Paul Heyman, it all comes from the the different set of glasses that he wears to look at the
Exactly.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Big
100%.
part of it too is his passion. Like he takes the time and he just
Yes.
he's very, very in it.
Yeah.
One of my bucket list things in my life is to just shake his hand and say thank you because he deserves all the things he can get.
Yeah. Roman Reigns would be right back to 2015 if Paul Heyman wasn't involved in this.
Yep.
There ain't no way. It had to be Heyman. Had to be 100%. I cannot wait to see how the story keeps going. Guys, we've been going at it for 2 hours. Let's wrap it up. It's been an awesome chat, though. I appreciate you guys giving up your evening to do this. My gosh, I cannot wait to see the results of this. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the chat tonight. Real quick, Cole, plug your stuff. Where can we watch you wrestle, and where can we follow you on social media?
Absolutely. Actually, this May 7th, I'm making my debut at Coastal Wrestling Federation out in Pensacola, Florida.
Awesome.
Technically Milton, Florida, but right there at the Panhandle. I'm so excited to do this. A great group out there. It's ran extremely professionally. A very respectful group of guys out there at Coastal Wrestling Federation. That'll be May 7th out in Milton, Florida, as well as, of course, Continental Championship Wrestling, CCW, here in Jacksonville, Florida. As well as, of course, Pro Wrestling Tees. You can find me, Cole Bohannon. Got a couple shirts on there, as well as on Twitter, Cole Bohannon 38. Something that's a little bit different for me from others is I tweet about a lot of different things, as well as my passion for auto racing, my passion for cars. I like to share that with others as well. Actually, today it's funny. A stray dog has wandered his way into my yard for the last 2 days. Just a stray pit bull. And he sits and he lays by my car.
Good taste.
And it's like he guards my car, which is really cool. And he's kind of become my yard dog. I feed him, I give him water. I even bring him in the house here and there to make sure he gets out of the hot sun. No clue whose dog he is. No one's looking for him. So, he's my yard dog until he finds his way home. So,
cool,
but
man.
no, I like to be interactive. I like to learn. I like to learn about new people. I like to share my knowledge as well. Just like Tristen said, hey, I'll teach you how to sell merch. I'm not somebody that's going to be like, screw that. I'll never be that, because this is an industry where you learn and you learn and you learn. You never stop learning. And the day you start thinking you're better than somebody else and somebody else can't teach you something is probably the day that you stop learning and you're holding yourself back. So, but yeah, that's where you can find me. And I definitely appreciate you having me on here, Mr. Bama Dave. Roll Tide. And hopefully we can catch up sometime and have a brewski or two somewhere if I get booked up in your neck of the woods.
You can have a brewski. I'll take a water or a Dr. Pepper. But man, I appreciate it. And you'll be back on May 24th. We're going to preview Double or Nothing together. So it's going to be fun.
I'll be here.
I'm looking forward to it. Mr. Joey, plug yourself, man. Where can we find you on social media? Tell us about what you got coming up on the Angle Radio podcast.
Of course, yes. So again, I'm Joey Carney, host of the Angle Podcast. All across the board. You can look me up, follow me at the Angle Radio I love to sit on Twitter. I'm always on Twitter.
Yes, you are.
And I like to just I try to give a different take than most wrestling fans. I try to be more positive.
Yeah.
And dive a little deeper into what I'm seeing. I'm very observant with that stuff, and I just love to see like, oh, maybe this will play out. Maybe this will happen. Maybe you just give different takes that become engaging and interactive, and I just try to make it an overall positive, fun experience. But you can check me out on my 2 big platforms right now. I'm on TikTok. I love TikTok for some reason. I just hit 15K there, so if you want to go follow there, go watch some fun stuff. I like to be the home base on TikTok for wrestling. YouTube, like at the Angle Podcast, you can see interviews with JBL, Rob Van Dam, Eric Bischoff, DDP, so many more on there. I have some great ones coming up. I'll actually break the news on your show because I haven't said it anywhere else yet. I'm sitting down with the Road Dogg, Jesse James. We're gonna be
Awesome.
a lot of fun stuff. So that will be coming out soon, hopefully next week, the week after. So the Angle Podcast, go like, follow, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And again, Bama Dave, I appreciate you for having me on. It's been a long time coming, and always great content, always fun seeing your stuff.
Oh, you didn't know? I can't wait to have you back on the show later, man. Absolutely. We're going to make it happen. Mr. Tristen Law, where can we follow you on social media? What do you got coming up? Where can we watch you wrestle?
Man, so if you want to watch me wrestle, I'm wrestling this Saturday in Slate Hill, New York. I'm wrestling some guy with fancy shoes and Bivians, however it is that he wants to spell his name, but definitely come check that out. Watch me stomp him out. Maybe, just maybe, I'll introduce Tristen Law's rules of wrestling, and if he agrees, he'll wrestle underneath my rules. And let's see what else. You can follow me at The Real Big Trist on Instagram and Twitter, or TristenLawShow.com to get all my other links. And if you're not doing anything on a Thursday night, I host trivia now at Jive Bar and Lounge in beautiful Milford, Pennsylvania.
Awesome. Again, thank you all 3 of you for giving up your time, and thank you for staying as late as you have. I hope it's been worth your time. Again, you can follow me at Bama Slammer. You can follow the podcast at SmackDraw Pod. Again, go to our YouTube, subscribe, click the bell, because every time I post a new video, you're not going to want to miss anything as it drops. We got stuff coming out almost every single day. And next week, here on the Bama Slammer, we're going to be previewing Backlash. Backlash is coming up this Sunday on May the 8th, and so we're going to be going live next Thursday to preview it. I've got one from our own SmackDraw podcast, the host of Bot Spots and Share Shots, Will Gray, will be joining us, as well as Tariq from the Young Kings Wrestling Podcast, and another independent wrestler that I believe you guys are acquainted with, Mr. Matt Vertigo, the New York Drip King, will be joining us next Thursday. I'm excited to talk to him again. So, thank you guys. This has been our top 10 favorite finishers of all time. Until the next time we drop the hammer, we'll see you next time here on the Bama Slammer. And this time, no one's kicking out of this finish. Have a good night, everybody.